The head of the great Trevor Baptiste, what he says to himself as he steps up to take a face-off.
Woodall wins the face-off, and that will do it. For the first time since 1992 and the third time ever, the Tigers have knocked off the #1 team in the country. It was
And we are just 30 minutes away. That's Towson leading scorer Brennan Sunday. He's warming up with his team, 11th ranked Tigers, getting ready to open CAA play against rival Hofstra. Face-off coming up at the top of the hour right here on Lax Sports Network. And while Hofstra's leading scorer Ryan Tierney, who has more than twice as many points as anyone else on the team, Hope's conference play will signal a turnaround for the Pride and a chance to make a run to the postseason. Well, it's finally Saturday, and it's finally time for College Central. I'm Megan Triplett, and for the next 30 minutes, we'll get you all caught up and ready for all the college action in the Lax world. And one of those games you will have right here on Allison. It's about 30 minutes away. It's between Hofstra and 11th ranked Towson. But before we preview that matchup, we talk about all the other top games going on today. And we actually had a big game last night between the Richmond Spiders and 7th ranked Virginia. The Cavaliers went into the night on a 5-game winning streak, and the Cavaliers cruised right by Richmond to get their 6th win in a row. Richmond committed 12 first-half turnovers and only registered 8 shots, while UVA scored early and often to lead 8-2 at the half, and the Cavs went on to win 16-7. Virginia was led offensively by Matt Moore, who had 2 goals and 4 assists, and Michael Cross and Ian Laviano finished with 5 points each. And as for today's action on the men's side, here are some of the top games we have to look forward to. It's a couple of top 20 battles. 8th ranked Syracuse is on the road to take on 12th ranked Notre Dame. That game is at noon on ESPNU. And then over in the Ivy League, 13th ranked Penn hosting 2nd ranked Yale. Game time set for 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Also at 1 p.m., 6th ranked Loyola hosting Colgate. That game is on Patriot League Network and on Stadium. And then at 2 p.m. Eastern, it is the big rivalry game between 2nd ranked Duke and their cross-time rival North Carolina Tar Heels. The game is on ESPNU. Now, as for all those games, let's first talk about Syracuse and Notre Dame. The Orange are coming off of a big come-from-behind win over the Duke Blue Devils. Syracuse rallied from 4 goals down in the 4th quarter to force OT, and then went on to defeat Duke 9-8. After the game, Syracuse head coach John Desko said he was proud of his team's resiliency. Take a listen.
It's nice to be able to come back and win games at the end. I'd prefer to be playing 60 minutes of lacrosse right now, but it's great that we've got it in our DNA that, never quit attitude. So I'm happy that the guys came back and played well going down the stretch enough to win the game in overtime.
Now, it wasn't the same result for Notre Dame last week. The Fighting Irish hosted Ohio State, and even though Notre Dame was able to score 2 goals in the final 70 seconds of regulation to force overtime, the Buckeyes scored the game winner in the first minute of the extra session, and Notre Dame lost 11-10. So here's a closer look at how these teams match up statistically, and things are generally pretty even. The goals scored and goals allowed are within a goal of each other. One glaring difference, though, the Orange are terrific on the extra man opportunities and over 50%, while the Irish are converting just 36% of the time. And then over in the Ivy League, 2nd ranked Yale comes in today on a 6-game winning streak. Now, after dropping its first game of the season to Villanova, the Bulldogs have won 6 straight. Their last victory was just on Tuesday against Air Force, where Yale scored 6 straight times in the second half to help solidify the 13-6 win. And it's the only reason for Yale's success, but it's a big part of Yale's success has been TD Ierlan. And it's hard to believe that TD could be having a better season than his record-setting 2018 season with Albany. But he's doing just that. He's now very close to his all-time best winning percentage, and he's winning more faceoffs and getting more ground balls per game. But he's unlikely to top the totals in those two categories since Yale won't have the opportunity to play as many games as he did last year, even if they reach championship weekend. Now, Yale isn't the only team on a winning streak. 13th ranked Penn coming into today's game seeking its 5th consecutive victory. Last weekend, the Quakers won in thrilling fashion and defeated then 5th ranked Cornell. Adam Goldner scored the game winner with 17.9 seconds left to give Penn a 16-15 win at Cornell. And another big game is number 5 Duke at North Carolina. The Tar Heels aren't ranked, but that really doesn't matter when these two rivals play. And while UNC leads the all-time series 41-33, ever since John Danowski got to Duke, it has been all Blue Devils, winning 15 of the last 19 meetings. Now with more, here's former Tar Heel and Ellison analyst Davey Imola.
Well, it's tough to know what to expect. There's no doubt about it that the rivalry Duke versus North Carolina is always going to be a close game. It's always going to be a hard-fought game. No team is going to tap out early or easily. So I think it's going to be exciting. You mentioned the teams are having two different types of season. Duke obviously has had some big time wins, coming off of an overtime loss. And going into this game, which I do not think helps North Carolina. But, UNC is an interesting squad this year. I think, Coach Bresch is doing a great job and sort of trying to bring along some of these younger players. There's a lot of really talented freshmen and sophomores that are sort of getting more and more experience. And then, along with that, on the same thing on the defensive end, so you're getting guys that are getting more games involved. And I think, you're used to at a place like Carolina having sort of, example would be an Austin Pafani who walked in as a freshman and started from day one. And, Jack Rowlett, who's still there as a senior, is another example of that. And, you'd like to see a lot of those, sort of more of those defenders and sort of 4-year guys coming in and playing as freshmen, maybe on the offensive end too. To give Carolina some more cohesiveness as a unit. But, like I said, it's rivalry week and really, those schools are separated by not many miles. And it's definitely going to be good. If, anything, in my opinion, anything you can do to get the sports world to stop talking about Zion Williamson is a good thing, I think.
And poor Davey, because everyone's still talking about Zion, but no one's talking about his Tar Heels today. All right, the biggest game of the weekend is actually Sunday night, with number 1 Penn State visiting 3rd-ranked Maryland. And the big storyline is the status of Penn State star attackman Grant Ament. He did not play in the Nittany Lions win over Cleveland State last weekend, and it sounds like he may miss this game as well. Now, Coach Jeff Tramboni telling Penn State newspaper The Daily Collegian that Ament is day-to-day as he deals with a lower body injury. Tramboni added that Ament's done a good job of taking care of himself and his business over the course of the week and has done a great job of recovering from this injury. Ament, of course, missed all of 2018 with a foot injury as well. Now, Ament's been the catalyst for a fantastic Penn State offense this season, breaking the program's single-season assist record with half a season still to play, scoring 10 goals and 46 assists in 7 games. That's good for 8 per game, which is top in the nation. A full point more than Loyola's Pat Spencer. With more on Ament, here's again is Davey Imola.
Grant's a really special player, and we've seen him come on these last couple weeks, but I think he really is the the straw that ultimately stirs the drink for Penn State. So, no matter which way you look at it, I think it's a huge impact. Not only, if he's not playing, but even if he's at, 70, 60% or something like that. Like I said, I think he's such a dynamic player and relies on his ability to move and create space between him and his defenders so much that I think it certainly will be a huge impact. Hopefully, the injury is not that significant, but at the same time, you look at the season he's having, you look at the way he puts up his points and has his production, and it's so much athleticism involved in those movements that I think it certainly, will be an effect.
And the fun will continue tomorrow. Third-ranked Maryland will play its first top 5 matchup of the season on Sunday when the Terps open Big Ten play against #1 Penn State in prime time at Maryland Stadium. That game is at 7 p.m. Eastern. Maryland has never lost to Penn State, holding a 36-0 advantage in the all-time series between the two schools, which began in 1924. Now, breaking down the numbers, each team with only one loss. Penn State leads the nation in scoring at over 18 goals per game, while the Terps are giving up less than half than that, ranked 7th in the country at only 9 goals allowed per game. And not surprisingly, the Nittany Lions are lights out on extra man opportunities. All right, so we have a lot going on the men's side, and it continues on the women's side of things as well, with a lot of great matchups today. Just take a look at what we got today. So we have #2 Maryland taking on Rutgers. That game is at 5 p.m. Eastern on Big Ten Network. But hey, the early games are so good just as well. #13 Duke taking on #3 Syracuse. That game is at 12 Eastern. And also at noon is Michigan. They're trying to stay undefeated, hosting Johns Hopkins. And then at 1 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network, Boston College hosting Virginia, taking on another top 10 matchup team. So all these games are so good on the women's side as well. And it could be an historic day for Maryland coach Kathy Reese. She earned her 250th career win earlier this season. And with a win over Rutgers today, she will tie Cindy Timchall for the program's all-time record in wins with 260. Timchall, now at Navy, has the most wins in NCAA history overall with 517 more than 200 more than second place. #1 Boston College is gearing up for another top 10 matchup today. The Eagles are coming off of arguably their biggest win of the season, taking down then third-ranked North Carolina 14-8 in Chapel Hill. The win allowed the Eagles to maintain their perfect record, hitting the 11-0 mark on the year. And of course, this Eagles trio may all garner recognition as Tewaaraton finalists by the end of the year. Reigning winner Sam Mapuzo leads the way with more than 6 points per game. That's good for second in the country. But Kenzie Kent, back after taking last year off to play her final season of ice hockey, is averaging nearly 6 points per game and ranks 4th. And don't sleep on midfielder Dempsey Arsenal. She ranks 3rd on the team with 43 points so far. So here's what it's like to be part of that big three. Take a listen to what Sam Mapuzo had to say.
Yeah, it's awesome. Playing with the two of them is such an incredible thing. It makes our offense so dynamic and so hard to stop for defenders. So it's a really powerful offense we have with the three of us, and including we have a lot of amazing other attackers that contribute as well.
Now, Virginia holds a 9-3 record so far this season, most recently coming off of a 17-12 win over Duke last weekend. The Cavaliers are 5-3 over ranked opponents this season, and they're led by Avery Schumacher, who notched 7 goals and 3 assists in wins over James Madison and Duke last week. Then there's 8th-ranked Michigan. They're hoping to stay undefeated today as they gear up to take on their 6th-ranked opponent of the season when they welcome 17th-ranked Johns Hopkins. The Wolverines are just one of 3 undefeated teams in the nation, but Michigan has never defeated the Blue Jays, as Johns Hopkins is 3-0 on the series. And there are a few plays from earlier in the week that we just have to show you. Women's players were putting on an absolute show, which looked even better in super slow-mo. Like this behind-the-back goal by Delaware's Carolyn Farley. She scored a career-high 4 goals on the Blue Hens' 18-8 win over Oregon, and she also had 12 draw controls to add on to that stat sheet. The assist on that play was by Mia De Rogerio, who tied her career-owned program record with 9 assists in the game, and that moved her into 2nd place in the nation in assists, trailing only Kenzie Kent, who has actually played 1 more game than De Rogerio. Also getting in the highlight reel action was Elon's Kaylee Thompson with this slick, no-look, backhand rocket of a goal against High Point. This goal was actually the #1 play on SportsCenter's Top 10 on Wednesday night, and you can see why. We'll get to see Elon in the CAA Game of the Week on April 12th right here on LSN, so mark your calendars. And you know what? Not to be outdone, but the human highlight reel herself, Nicole Levy. But also check out the assist by Megan Terrell. From her knees, then Levy with the cool, calm, collected BTB finishing, making it look oh so easy, but oh so pretty. And we've got women's lacrosse here on LSN this afternoon at San Diego State. Traveling all the way East Coast, taking on number 10 James Madison. First draw is set for 5 o'clock Eastern. That's 2 o'clock West Coast time for you Aztecs fans. That's at laxsn.com or on the LSN app. All right, coming up on College Central, we are just a few minutes away from Towson and Hofstra taking on each other after we show you what Kobe Smith had to say earlier this week about today's game. Plus, since we are midway into the season, we tell you how the addition of the shot clock has affected the game so far this year. And the Navy men's lacrosse team had a very special visitor yesterday when they practiced at Gillette Stadium. You'll see him right there. We'll tell you more about it coming up after the break.
Woodall wins the faceoff, and that will do it. For the first time since 1992 and the third time ever, the Tigers have knocked off the #1 team in the country. It was a big stage here on a Wednesday night, Davey, and at times it wasn't real pretty, but it kind of fits what Towson is all about. They come away with the 12-10 win.
Speed. Power. This trophy is not given, it must be earned. The NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championships. May 25th through 27th at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia.
In the stick, boom, on the money, cradle and a pass. Win the first championship!
Visit ncaa.com/lacrosse to get your tickets today.
Towson getting all set for face-off against Hofstra. Earlier this week, here's what Tigers defenseman Kobe Smith told us about what he enjoys about facing the best attackmen in the country.
You individually have been matched up with some of the best players in the country. You've played Pat Spencer, Ethan Walker, Jeff Teat. Is there a matchup of those guys or the guys you've played that you want again, or another guy in the country that you'd love to see yourself have a chance at?
I mean, they're all fun to play. I love being able to play against people that have real good names and that kind of stuff. And personally, I just enjoy playing the best matchups I can have. The best players I can play against are the best matchups that I could ever ask for. And personally, I don't really want any other matchups or could ask for anybody else, just whoever's next.
What do you enjoy about the opportunity to play the guys that everybody's talking about?
It's always fun. Like, there's always hype around the names and that kind of stuff. So it's always something neat to look forward to. I know I have a little brother who's a sophomore in high school, and all of his friends look up to me and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of fun hearing about how well I play against my matchups from them and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool just listening to the younger kids and how they talk about me and that kind of chat.
All right, now we are just a few more minutes away from Hofstra taking on Towson. The Pride are 3-6 this season and are hoping to get its first win over a ranked team this year. Here's what head coach Seth Tierney said on Lacrosse Now earlier this week about his team's very difficult first half of the season. Take a listen.
I mean, listen, they're a resilient bunch. We got off to a good start with a win over Lehigh, who I think is in the top 20 now, maybe somewhere in the mid-teens. Got a win over Utah, who obviously we all know is not a first-year program. And then we went on a little bit of a run that we'd like to have back. We did get we got injuries that everybody has. We had a couple that really hurt us. We've got a lot of young guys. We graduated 18 last year. We got a couple new guys on staff. Coach Gorman is now coaching the defense, and Coach McEntee is on staff doing the face-offs and the riding and clearing. And it's just taking a little bit of time for some of those young guys to understand what Division I is all about. But I like the enthusiasm. We know we're a couple goals away from being 6-3. We're not. We're 3-6, and that's what we deserve. But we also know that we have it in us, and we need to bring it together. We can get a couple of these injuries healed. I don't know when that's going to happen, and bring it together a little bit. We can go on a little bit of a run here.
All right, thanks. Now here's a look at the history between these rivals. Today marks the 50th meeting, with Hofstra winning 27 of the first 49. They've played at least once every year since 1996, and that's through 3 different conferences. The East Coast Conference, which later became the America East, and then both joined the CAA in 2002. With more, here's the guys who are on the call of today's game: Travis Eldridge and Steve Panarelli.
Getting ready for the start of CAA play. Steve, this is a battle between Long Island and Baltimore. It's a great rivalry in the conference to kick things off. Let's take a look at some of the offensive players we're going to keep our eye on. For Hofstra, it's Ryan Tierney. He is the guy, and if he's not on, it's trouble for this Pride offense.
You said it. He's the guy, and right now in this early part of the season, he's been the only guy really for Hofstra's offense. He needs some help. He needs some guys around him. I look for a guy like Jimmy Yanis, has experience, can dodge, can usually create his own shot. So guys like that are going to have to step in and help out Tierney.
Yanis is a guy who played in the midfield for the beginning part of this season, has moved back up to attack with a couple of injuries in that spot. We'll talk more about that on the game broadcast. When you look at Towson, they've had more pieces offensively that have gotten it done than Hofstra, but still, the guy is Brendan Sunday, the big guy, 6'5".
You said it, the big guy. He does a great job of getting guys on his back, getting those inside rolls. He's a very difficult, tough matchup. What I like about his game is he's not only a goal scorer, but he's good at distributing and finding his teammates as well.
We'll keep an eye on both of those guys as the second season starts today between Hofstra and Towson. We got face-off top of the hour here on LAC Sports Network.
And Towson senior short stick defensive midfielder Zach Goodrich has been named a finalist for the Lowe's Senior Class Award. Nominees must have notable accomplishments in the community, classroom, character, and competition. Goodrich is one of the Tigers' captains, even wearing the CV30 patch for Towson, honoring former Tiger Carl Biernick. Now here, he's one of 10 finalists, including Providence goalie Tate Boyce, Lehigh caused turnover machine Craig Schick, Virginia do-it-all midfielder Ryan Conrad, Denver midfielder Colton Jackson. Then there's Penn State defenseman Chris Sabia, Pat Spencer and goalie Jacob Stover from Loyola, Army's All-American defenseman Johnny Surdick, and Yale midfielder Jack Ty all make the list. All right, still ahead on LSN College Central, we will get to know Hofstra attackman Jimmy Yanis off the field. Plus, we have some interesting stats to reveal the major impact the shot clock is having so far this season. LSN College Central will be right back.
speed, power. This trophy is not given, it must be earned. The NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championships, May 25th through 27th at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia.
In the stick, boom, on the money, cradle and a pass. Win the first championship!
Visit ncaa.com/lacrosse to get your tickets today.
Jimmy Giannis is the second on the team in points. His Hofstra Pride opened CAA play in just minutes right here on LSN on the road at number 11 Towson. This week, Tom Eschen got to know the senior attackman off the field.
Fight with Jimmy Giannis. We'll start here with Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean. You got to choose one.
Pacific.
I figured that, California bred. All right. Dream vacation location.
Hawaii.
Go-to karaoke song.
No Air from wherever.
Jordan Sparks and Chris Brown?
Yeah.
The fact that I knew who was saying that says a lot about me, too. All right, what's the next one here? How many Final Four teams do you have left in your bracket?
I actually have 14 of the 16 in my Sweet 16.
All right.
And all 4 are still in the Final Four.
You're in good shape. I like it. And how about one word to describe Coach Tierney?
Tough.
I like it. Thanks, man.
I'm pretty sure if you asked him now what his top 4 picks look like, it's not the same, because I'm pretty sure he probably had North Carolina in there and they shocked all of us. All right, let's move on, because as we all know, the new rules have been one of the major talking points of the 2019 college lacrosse season. But how much have the 80-second shot clock and the 20 seconds to clear really affected the product we've seen on the field? Well, thanks to Inside Lacrosse, we have some numbers. All right, so here they are. The average number of possessions per game are actually up 20% from last season. This year, there are an average of 82 possessions per game. And according to IL, that's up from 69.5 last year, and the most since they started keeping track back in 2010. So far, the pace of play is up with the shot clock. So let's see our interview with the author of the article, Villanova's Brian Coughlin. You can see that on demand if you want more about how this has all affected the game so far. All right, Navy is in Massachusetts to play Holy Cross today. And on Friday, they practiced at Gillette Stadium and got a very special visit from Patriots head coach Bill Belichick. No surprise here, because even he had his stick out there too. Belichick, of course, is a former Wesleyan lacrosse player, and we all pretty much kind of guessed this was going to happen because, the notoriously grumpy Belichick, he's actually smiling, he's happy. We all know he loves lacrosse, and these are 2 of the things that make him happy, and if you ask Tom Brady, he would agree.
I'm going to attempt to make Bill Belichick laugh today.
You could do it.
What is the easiest way to make Bill laugh?
Man. I have no idea.
Or even smile. Is it possible to get him to smile?
Just say Navy, lacrosse, Lawrence Taylor,
Bon Jovi?
Bon Jovi, those 4.
That That was from a couple of years ago, the Super Bowl. Now, you can make sure you tune into Lacrosse Now tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. It's the only way you can get all the highlights from college lacrosse in one place, and it's all free right here on LAC Sports Network. All right, that'll do it for LSN College Central, so enjoy Towson and Hofstra.
The days get longer and the weather gets warmer, the stakes get higher. After a non-conference slate full of marquee wins.
The Tigers have knocked off the #1 team in the country. There's Drexel, the Dragons upset Villanova 15-10.
And surprises.
Give Corsiniti an assist. Beckwith with a hat trick.
The second season begins today.
Blue collar, tough nose.
So every game is going to be a dogfight.
In the CAA, toughness isn't optional.
Taken away, what a check.
It's required in the chase for the CAA championship, which begins today on LAC Sports Network.
LAC Sports Network is proud to present the CAA Game of the Week. Today we open CAA conference play with a good old-fashioned rivalry, Long Island versus Baltimore, as Hofstra visits Johnny Unitas Stadium to face the 11th ranked Towson Tigers. What's going on, everybody? Finally feeling like lacrosse weather alongside the former Syracuse standout Steve Panarelli. I'm Travis Eldridge. Steve, in CAA conference play, it's always tough and gritty. UMass last year, the only team over the last 5 years to run the table in the conference, gives you a feel for how difficult it is to play in this league.
Teams are so familiar with each other, just playing each other year in and year out. You look at Towson, kind of been the kings of the CAA, besides last year, like you said, with UMass, so looking to regain that championship. But always a tough conference, always tight games between all these teams.
When we look at this matchup, the start of the second season, but still question marks for both sides. When we look at Hofstra, we know they have Ryan Tierney leading the way on offense, but still lots of question marks with a lot of inexperienced pieces.
A lot of young guys, and even some of their older guys are new guys. So like you said, a lot of inexperience on this Hofstra team. I think defensively, they've been pretty solid at times. I think the big question mark is the offense. They need guys to step up. It can't just be Tierney.
When we look at Towson, we know the knowns. They've got a great guy in Brendan Sunday in attack, a dynamic face-off guy, one of the better goalies we've seen so far in the country, but they still do have question marks as they enter conference play.
Turnovers. That's been their whole key has been turnovers. When they turn the ball over and they can't clear the ball, that's what gets them in trouble, and that's why they've lost some of these close games. When you look at that Denver game, that Duke game, the only thing that separates them is the turnover. So they got to clean that up, and they'll give themselves a chance to beat anybody in the country.
And we'll see if they can clean it up today. We'll be back here with the action from Johnny Unitas Stadium.
I am a CAA student athlete. I respect myself. Through respecting myself, I respect my opponent.
Through respecting my opponent, I respect the game. Through respecting the game, I respect the officials.
Through respecting the officials, I respect the outcome.
My example, in victory or defeat, nurtures respect in others.
Will you follow my lead?
The national anthem in the books, and we are ready for game time. Start of CAA play here at Johnny Unitas Stadium. Hofstra coming in at 3-6 on the year, losers of 2 straight, taking on the 11th ranked Towson Tigers, 5-3, but they have lost their last 3 here entering conference play. Travis Eldridge and Steve Panarelli here with you. When you look at this series, Steve, it is a gritty, tough series. Hofstra has the lead, but Towson's won 2 of 3. However, the Pride shocked the Tigers last year.
Always a great game. I remember growing up on Long Island, always going to the Hofstra Towson games at Stewart Stadium. So it's always been a great rivalry, and you know, it's that Long Island, Maryland thing, so it's always been a great game.
Expecting a great one once again here today. Both these teams we talked about in the Open, they have their deficiencies. Hofstra probably more than Towson in terms of question marks. What are you most looking forward to seeing here as both teams kind of wipe the slate clean from what they did in the non-conference and focus in on conference play?
Both teams kind of, the way I look at it, both teams kind of come in limping here, right? But just different limps entirely. You know, you look at Towson, 3 losses, but you're talking losses to Duke and Denver and Cornell, whereas Hofstra, you know, some of their losses are not as good as those. So I'm curious to see the attitude, the energy that both of these teams bring. I expect a really good performance from Towson, but it'll be interesting because, like you said, it's CAA, big-time rivals. You never know what you're going to get when these guys get together.
Couple of notable changes when we look at the starting lineups here today. For Hofstra, a gigantic change. You see number 21 there in blue on your screen, Dylan McIntosh, in the lineup for the first time since being out, getting injured in the Villanova game, Game 3, back at the end of February. He had his jaw wired shut over the course of the last several weeks. Checked in with the doctor late in this week, gets the okay to go. So Dylan McIntosh, a Canadian finisher, the sophomore from British Columbia, getting the start here today for Hofstra.
Him being on the inside takes a lot of pressure off of the guys around him. So now when a team slides, you have to worry about him. So it changes the whole dynamic of this offense. Let's see what type of impact putting him on the inside has for Hofstra.
In goal for the Pride, it's Bobby Casey getting the start once again, number 27, wearing that number in the honor of Nick Cullilori, from the founder of the Headstrong Foundation. For Towson, once again, Tyler Canto, the big man, 6'6" from Billerica, Massachusetts, in cage. The opening face-off, a scrum, and this is a battle that Alex Woodall has won for most of the season. Wins it again here for Towson, but the ball goes out of bounds off the Tigers, and Hofstra will get the opening possession here this afternoon.
Good sign from Hofstra, good wing play. Mucked it up, made it a 50-50, goes their way. That's what they're going to have to do today. You can't let him win it clean out the front, create transition and early offense opportunities. Got to muck it up, turn it into a ground ball situation, and hope that your wings can come up with some.
Hofstra in the road royal blue uniforms with the white shorts. Towson, for the first time in a home game this year, not wearing those throwback gold uniforms. So after 3 straight losses, the Tigers decided to change things up a little bit as they have their second straight game here at Johnny Unitas Stadium. Ryan Tierney shoots one high. For the Pride offensively, Ryan Tierney, number 13 there in blue, is the guy. Leads the team with 28 points. As that ball is stolen away. Nice pickup by Gray Bowden, and the Tigers with their first offensive set. Bowden wants to go. Casey with the stop.
A little end-to-end right there. Starts with the turnover from Giannis. He's got to do a better job of moving the ball on, recognizing that the guy right next to him is covered, and then you come down, you get that shot. Nice save from the goalie. Back comes Hofstra.
And the Pride able to clear no problem here. Clearing and turnovers. A couple of things to watch when you look at this Towson team. Hofstra's been pretty good, averaging about 16 turnovers per game, clearing at 87%. That's 10th in the country. For Towson, those numbers are things they'd like to improve, clearing at just 75% so far this year, averaging up close to 20 turnovers per game. Shot on the run, well off there from Ryan Kennard, the starter in this midfield unit. And a backup for Towson, so maybe an unforced error for the Pride.
And Kennard's another guy that could take some pressure off Tierney and really contribute to this, this Hofstra offense. Third in the team in points out of the midfield. Obviously going to get the pull in most situations, but he's a guy that can create off the top and create opportunities not only for himself, but for his teammates, especially like someone like McIntosh on the inside.
The attack unit, a change in the starters for Towson for the first time this season. Tim Montgomery, the sophomore, getting the start to go along with Brody McLean and the standout Brendan Sunday. In the midfield, a change as well, as Grant Maloof and Timmy Monahan are joined by Greg I. Number 15 has the ball now. Coach Nadeline trying to shift things around here to find the secret sauce to snap this 3-game losing streak. McLean couldn't get that one to go. Fresh 80 there for Towson. Refs get some issues figured out. And we're good to go with Greg I triggering things. Greg I, a guy who started his career at Penn State, did not play in his first year, transferred mid-year last year here to Towson. Scored his first career goal against Duke earlier this season. Legal screen will turn it over for Towson. Griffin Barnathan, and the shot sails high. That's their first shot from Dylan McIntosh that we've seen in his return, but no backup, and back come the Tigers.
I like what Hofstra did, though. Early offense, they beat the whistle, got up the field. You know, wasn't maybe the best look from McIntosh. Maybe could have moved it one more time. But with the way their offense has played this year, struggled with the 6-on-6, got to find other ways to score. So I like that mentality of getting up the field and trying to create some easy ones in transition.
Pride coming into this thing averaging under 9 goals per game. That has been the struggle for Hofstra. The defense, despite having a ton of new pieces, has actually settled in quite a bit, and Bobby Casey's been pretty solid in cage. Here comes Jake McLean running with the second midfield unit here for Towson. Beecham. Now back to Montgomery. Rolls across, and Casey with another stop. A couple of early saves for Bobby Casey for Hofstra.
And that's a nice save. Tracked it the whole way, followed the stick. He was low to low. If he would have came up high with that, it would have been, I think, an easy goal, but nice job from the goalie, Casey, to follow that the whole way and make a big save.
Now Hofstra now forced to settle into a 6-on-6 set. It's a Towson defense that, of course, has been difficult all year long. Features Kobe Smith, number 26 in white. It's a guy that has been drawing that #1 matchup from just about every team. Has gone up against Pat Spencer, Jeff Teat. As this shot on the run goes, it's Ryan Tierney making it 1-0.
A nice shot from Tierney on the run. Uses the turf to his advantage. Right here, just a simple dodge, gets to his left hand. He is a lefty. You've got to try to make him a right-handed player. He's deadly when he gets going to his left. You've got to shade that side. You've got to make him an alley dodger. Got to make him a right-handed player. He loves his left, and he shows it to you right there.
Ryan Tierney's team-leading 23rd goal of the season, now at almost 30 points with 29. The next highest is Jimmy Yanis. We mentioned that in the pregame show. Ryan Tierney at times has had to be a one-man show for the Hofstra offense. We'll see if they can get some other contributors here today.
Well, I think what defenses have done, they've obviously focused on him. He's seeing a lot of early slides. We talked about McIntosh being back. If he's on the inside and they're going to be forced to slide early to a guy like Tierney, that opens things up on the inside, gives you another capable scorer, finisher on the inside. So that might have an impact, and that's maybe a reason why you didn't see anybody slide to Tierney there. A little worried about McIntosh on the inside.
McLean to Malouf down on the doorstep, and he cashes in. Malouf with an answer.
That was one of those shots where you knew it was going to be a goal. It was in just such nice rhythm. Watch as he catches here. Everything is very smooth and just gets himself set and in and out of his stick. Like I said, that was in rhythm. Perfect shot here, right out of that roll dodge, and bang, sticks it. So nice play from Malouf in the Towson offense.
Grant Malouf, a guy who's been a solid contributor out of the midfield unit, now 11 goals on the season, his 15th point. Had 20 goals last year, including 7 on the extra man. It was a killer shooter for this unit a year ago. Another face-off win here for Towson, and this is a spot that throughout the year we've watched with the Tigers. Alex Woodall has been so good entering this afternoon at 75%, ranked second in the country. Brendan Sunday outside to Maloof. Back-to-back for Grant Maloof. It's 2-1 Tigers.
Little two-man game here from the Tigers out top. Hofstra's got to do a better job defensively of communicating this. Watch, you're going to watch two guys go to the ball. 25-34, both go to the ball. Leave Sunday wide open, and you can't leave the most dangerous guy on the opposing offense wide open in the pick game there. You've got to switch that, got to communicate that. You can't leave, I can't leave Sunday wide open.
Yeah, and Sunday draws all that attention because of what he has done so far this year, the leading point scorer on this team. And Maloof able to cash in, and another face-off win for Alex Woodall. And with that, he is now won 507 face-offs as a Towson Tiger and is tied for #1 all time. He passes it over, shot just a little wide, but plenty of room for the backup here for Towson. So Alex Woodall now tied for first all time in Towson history, tying Justin Berry with 507 face-off wins. I think it's safe to say he's going to win another one here.
I think before the season's over, he'll get one more.
What a career from Alex Woodall. The transfer from High Point was really a big contributor in that run to the Final Four a couple of seasons ago for Towson. Has gotten himself into even better shape this year after he put on a little weight, and he has had a stellar senior season so far.
And the guy he's passing was a pretty good face-off guy himself.
Yes.
Helped Towson get to a Final Four. Was a great face-off guy for the Tigers.
And a turnover, will give it back to Hofstra here as Towson couldn't pick up that loose ball. In talking with Coach Sean Nadalin this week about the turnovers, averaging 20 per game, they turned the ball over 25 times in that loss to Duke. That was a big reason that they couldn't finish things off. Clearing an issue last week against Denver, a reason why they couldn't hold on against the Pioneers. He said, you know what? We stepped into practice. We didn't yell. We tried to make it positive. We had some fun. We were playing a little tight. We wanted to loosen things up, and I think so far with some of the offensive possessions, we've seen some looser play, a little bit more confident so far.
I give him a lot of credit. I don't know if I'd be disciplined enough to try and keep it loose. I think I'd be losing my mind as a head coach with the way they looked over the last 2 games. But you're right, early on here, they've done a much better job in the clearing game. The simple, easy passes of just moving it on to the next guy have been there, have been sharp. So that's why Coach Nads is a head coach, and I'm up here talking with you.
Yeah. Both are good. It's just different.
Just different.
Down the alley, a shot sails wide. Sterling Ardrey with a shot there for Hofstra. Freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina. This is Yanis. He's got his man caught up. Canto comes out of the cage. Canto, a big body in that cage, and he gets the stop. Showing some of the athleticism as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about Jimmy Yanis. He's a guy, he's got a nice first step. He's quick, good change of direction. He showed you his speed right there. I think his biggest problem this year has been finishing. He's created some opportunities for himself in a lot of these games, and there was a good one right there. He's just got to finish.
Here's Ryan Tierney. He's got the matchup with Gray Bowden here this afternoon. Gets it along to Ardrey. Hands free, Ardrey finds a corner.
Hofstra initiating from up top, playing this little 2-man game at the top corner there, right? You're gonna see that pick come, and Ardrey does a good job recognizing that the guy who was trying to fight through the pick was a little late, couldn't get over it. He had just enough room and a nice shot on the run, good overhand, high percentage shot, and gets it tied back up.
Sterling Ardrey, the freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina, at his first career point against Stony Brook, now 6 goals on the season, getting the start here this afternoon in the midfield. So here we go, Alex Woodall, 1 face-off way a win from becoming Towson's all-time leader. Locked in a good one with Brian Herbert. What a battle here to continue the gameplay in the first quarter.
And right now, it's all about your bottom hand. That's where you're going to get all your power from. That's what's going to win this clamp. It's that left hand of Woodall.
Herber content to lock this thing down. Woodall not able to win that one. It's Herber with the loose ball.
So the record stands. I told you, he might not get it.
What a battle.
And that's a good sign from Hofstra. They're going to need possessions. They can't get dominated to face-off X. They've done a nice job here in the first quarter. If they can continue that, that's going to go a long way for them in this game.
Brian Herber coming into the game at just under 57%. First year with this full-time starting role for the Pride, and he's been pretty good. Rolling free! Another one for the Pride. It's Joey Alardi with a goal.
Towson, not in a big hurry to slide. That's not how they play defense. They trust their matchups. They trust their short stick guys. They almost treat them like poles. So if you're in a Hofstra offensive player, you've got to love that, because now you know you're going to get a guy on an island. You're going to be one-on-one, and Alardi does a nice job here of getting that inside roll, getting across the top there, and taking those few extra steps to create that angle and get an even bigger piece of that goal to shoot at and finish and give Hofstra the lead.
That last faceoff, 45 seconds, won by Brian Herber. This one a little bit faster, and Herber's starting to find a rhythm. The advantage that has been tilted toward Towson throughout the season, and a couple of straight faceoff wins to give the Pride a little make-it-take-it opportunity.
Towson alumni, Mr. Barry's sitting at home. He's still the guy. He's got a couple more, maybe.
Maybe a couple more minutes here. Jimmy Yanis goes to work against the All-American candidate and Kobe Smith. Bodied up here by Andrew O'Dare, the short stick, but Yanis gets free. Skip pass out top. Shot never got through. Man, that was a tough shot from that O'Dare took there, I believe right into the stomach. That's gonna hurt.
He ate that one. Again, we talked about Yanis. He's quick. He can create these types of situations. Take a look here. Yeah, he took that. He soaked that one up, as they say. I don't miss that. I can tell you right now, I do not miss getting hit with the ball.
That one hurts now and hurts maybe even more tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah. Hurts in the shower, hurts when you try to go to sleep at night. You roll over onto it, you forget that it's there.
Andrew O'Dare takes the timeout here as Yanis goes back to work at X for Hofstra. And what we've seen here, some different guys creating so far for the Pride, has to make Coach Tierney feel a lot better about this offense so far today.
Yeah, some new guys. Some guys showing some athletic ability right there.
Tierney! He's got two, and the Pride are up a pair.
Give Hofstra a lot of credit here, getting it done early on. I thought Towson would be playing with a lot of life and a lot of passion, but so far it's been the Pride. Seth Tierney's boys have showed up to play, and his son helps him right here. Beats his man. Talked about it before. Towson not in a big hurry to slide. They trust their matchup, so when you get a step like that, then you can go full throttle to the goal and get as close as you can before you have to let it go. And Tierney does a nice job of, again, finishing it with his left hand. Got to try to make that guy a righty.
Already his 6th multi-goal game of the season. Alex Woodall still looking for that record-clinching win, but Herber again, 3 in a row for Hofstra at the X. And a really big opportunity here for Hofstra, up by 2 already late in this first quarter. Think about this Hofstra offense as well. It's a banged up unit. You get Dylan McIntosh back into this lineup, but Whit Stopak, the freshman who had a pretty good start to his freshman season, he's out with an injury. James Philbin, who's gotten some starts to the attack unit, he is also out today. So a unit they've tried to just kind of put pieces together, and so far so good.
Well, we talked about their youth, right? And even the older guys are new guys, don't have a lot of game experience. So it takes time. It takes time for those guys to get adjusted, get the experience they need, start to gel. You know, it's still early in this game, and they got a long way to go, but maybe this is the game where they start to come together, and this offense starts to put it together, and they start to see some better results.
And a good takeaway here for Towson to get an offensive set. That was something, as Brendan Sunday thought about it, backs it out. That's something that Coach Seth Tierney talked about. He said the guys really embraced the fact that this is a new season. Let's wipe the slate clean as we start the conference, where everybody's 0-0. And when you have a team embrace that in the locker room, it usually brings some positive things to the table. Sunday down the alley, shot just a little wide of that far post. Tim Montgomery triggering things. Getting the start instead of Luke Frommert here today. Frommert coming off a game where he had 3 points against Denver, but we have not seen him yet today. Shot sails wide.
Feels like it's been a while since we've seen the Towson offense. This is their first long possession in a long while.
Got a ball on the field. 11 seconds left on this shot clock for the Tigers offense. Maloof off the post. That resets the 80, so Towson a chance to hold for one here at the end of the first quarter.
You're Hofstra here, you want to dig in, you got to defend for, you know, just around 40. Get a big stop, carry that momentum here into the second quarter. You'll feel really good about yourselves if you can hold the Tigers to 2 here in the first quarter and come up with a big stop right now.
Greg I triggering things at the top of the box. Sophomore Mitty. Gets past one, but now moves it along. Maloof already with a couple of goals today. 5 seconds left for Montgomery. Hands free, shot too high. And that will do it on our opening 15 minutes. The slate wiped clean to start CAA play, and Hofstra coming out firing. The Pride with an early 4-2 lead. Ryan Tierney with the pair. We're on upset watch at Towson.
Welcome inside the Ellison Broadcast Center. I'm Megan Triplett. Hofstra leading number 11 Towson 4-2. But first, let's catch you up on the other top 20 games from around the nation. We actually had a big game last night between number 18 Richmond and 7th-ranked Virginia. Cavaliers went into the night on a 5-game winning streak, and the Cavaliers cruised right by Richmond to get their 6th win in a row. Richmond committed 12 first-half turnovers and only registered 8 shots, while UVA scored early and often to lead 8-2 at the half, and the Cavs went on to win 16-7. Virginia was led offensively by Matt Moore, who had 2 goals and 4 assists, and Michael Cross and Ian Laviano finished with 5 points each. As for today's action on the men's side, here are some of the top games going on right now. Notre Dame already up 5-1 over Syracuse. That game just ended in the first quarter. And that game's on ESPNU. And of course, you got Penn and Yale. That's later on today at 1 Eastern. And also at 1, Colgate and Loyola taking on each other on PLN and Stadium. And Duke, North Carolina. Oh, it's the rivalry. That game is at 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. We will have all the highlights of all these games and a lot more on lacrosse now at 9 o'clock Eastern. It's the only way you can get all the highlights from college lacrosse in one place, and it's free right here on LAC Sports Network. We'll see you again at halftime. Enjoy the second quarter.
Getting ready for quarter number 2 as we open CAA conference play here on LAC Sports Network. The Pride coming in here to Towson, and they've got an early 4-2 lead over the 11th-ranked Towson Tigers. Travis Eldridge, Steve Panarelli back with you here on LSN. Great start here from the Pride. They got some different guys involved, and then Ryan Tierney with a pair.
Yep, just gets enough room. He doesn't need much room to get his left-handed shot off, can shoot it on the run. He's really deadly when he's standing and has time and room. But again, right here, it gets under his defenseman. Doesn't need much time there, able to get that lefty shot off, and he's got 2 on the board already here today.
At the face-off X, so far a relatively even battle. Actually, Hofstra has a 4-3 edge after 1 quarter. Towson looking to get one more face-off win for Alex Woodall to become the all-time career leader in face-off wins for the Tigers, but instead another face-off victory here for Brian Herber and the Pride.
Give Herber a lot of credit here. I don't know if he's trying to win them. He's doing a good job of being defensive at the X. He's tying them up. He's not letting them win it clean, and then he's letting it go up to his wing guys, and they've done a great job for him here today.
So up by a pair, Hofstra a chance to add to that lead to start quarter number 2. Remember, this is a Hofstra team that only averages 8.5 goals per game. Already 4 in that first quarter as there's a turnover, and it's scooped up by Chad Patterson. Tyler Canto with a long pass ahead to Kobe Smith, and a chance for Sunday to go in transition. Smith, one more, saved by Casey, rebound put home. Right place, right time for Brody McLean. The Tigers start off quarter number 2 well.
Starts with Sunday. He's aggressive here in transition. Most guys would have just stayed. Look at him initiating right there. Finds the defenseman who does a nice job of running the field, filling the lanes, gets the shot off, nice save, but then it's McLean on the rebound. Good early offense from Towson again with Sunday initiating that and really pushing the issue and creating that opportunity.
Something we saw a lot in that game in the win over Hopkins. We were able to do it a little bit in that victory over Loyola. Something they were not able to do, very limited against Denver last week in transition against that tough Pios defense, as Herber gets another face-off win. This one able to run clean and win it forward.
And you can tell he's starting to feel, he's trying to gain that confidence at the face-off X. Like I said before, he was really kind of just stalling him, being a little defensive with what he was throwing out there, but that time he's offensive, going out the front, being aggressive. Again, starting to really build some confidence there at the face-off X, and that is a really good sign for Hofstra.
Big start for a lot of parts of this Hofstra team, and Tierney already has a hat trick.
And that is not much you can do there defensively. He doesn't use that pick. He goes to his right lefty. Watch how unorthodox this is, okay? He's going to his right, but he stays lefty, sets his feet and able to let it rip. Again, only thing you could do there defensively is jump out at him right away. And now come off of that pick, and someone's got to jump and go right to his face and take that away. But he does a good job of being patient, reading what the defense was giving him in that 2-man game, and then burying it left-handed.
7th hat trick of the season for Ryan Tierney. That looked kind of like that Lyle Thompson shot that he likes to do with his right hand. And Alex Woodall wins it forward. Can he get the loose ball? He can. So there it is. Face-off win number 508. Towson now has a new career face-off leader. Took a little longer than we expected, but Alex Woodall able to take over the top spot from Justin Berry. It's cool. Justin Berry was in attendance for last week's game against Denver. The two of them took a picture together. So now, officially, the new king of face-off wins for the Towson Tigers. More importantly, gets them an offensive set that they could use here after Hofstra answered that early second quarter goal. Nice shimmy shake from Maloof. Maloof is feeling it. He's got a hat trick as well. Something about number 13 this afternoon.
It's Maloof versus Tierney right now with the way these guys are playing and heating up and lighting it up from the outside. Again, right here, same type of situation. Just like Tierney before, he goes to his right, keeps it in his left hand, gets a step on the short stick D-mid, he covered him, and then he just blasts it from the outside. So Maloof's feeling it, Tierney's feeling it, and we got ourselves a 1-goal game.
Brant Maloof already with a hat trick. His career best is 4 goals earlier this season in the win over Jacksonville. second hat trick of the season for Maloof. As another face-off win here, and now that they got the record out of the way, it seems like Alex Woodall has settled down a little bit. Back-to-back face-off wins for the Tigers. And watch this second midfield unit that's running out here for Towson. This is a spot that Coach Nadelin has been a little concerned about, trying to get a little bit more production out of guys like Casey Wasserman, Andrew Beecham, maybe a Matt Severo, guys that have not had a huge numbers so far this season.
If you can have a good, solid second midfield line, it really makes the difference. I remember our 04 team, national championship team, our second midfield was Greg Rommel, who was an eventual All-American, Stephen Brooks, who was an eventual All-American, and Brett Bucktooth. That was our second midfield, right? So obviously our first line was even better than those guys at the time, but when you could put those guys on the field and not much drops off, it makes such a difference, especially as you get later in the year, as the weather gets warmer. Those top 6 guys need a little bit of a break, and if you could put those guys in, it really makes a huge difference down the stretch.
A caused turnover there for Hofstra as they were able to scoop up the loose ball, and they've got a timeout here to talk things over. Under 12 minutes to go in the second quarter. We've got a good one so far in our opener in the CAA play. We'll step aside here on LAC Sports Network. Be back with more second quarter action.
Hey everybody, Tom Eschen here in the LSN studios. The first week of conference play for the men in the CAA. The women still with some non-conference business to take care of. Here's what's in store in action today. The game you're watching right now kicking everything off. Then coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern, Delaware taking on Fairfield with UMass hosting Drexel in what should be another solid matchup. As for the women, Hofstra taking on Columbia at 1 p.m. today. Towson looking to turn the tide of their season heading into conference play against Yale. Drexel hosting Robert Morris, and JMU coming off a tough week against some top teams will host San Diego State at 5. And one more game on Sunday when Delaware takes on a tough Louisville team. And once it's all said and done in the regular season, you can watch the men's and women's championships right here on LSN May 2nd through May 5th. All of the semifinals and championship games free right here on LAC Sports Network and the LSN app.
Welcome back to Johnny Unitas Stadium in Towson, Maryland. Hofstra with a early 5-4 lead over the 11th ranked Towson Tigers. Travis Eldridge, Steve Panarelli back with you here on LSN, our CAA game of the week. The start of conference play for these two, and the Pride certainly enjoying the fact that they're now back to 0-0 in the conference. Off to a hot start. They've been good at the face-off X. Ryan Tierney already with a hat trick, and they've got a couple of different guys involved offensively. Team that entered this game at 3-6 on the year. A lot of new pieces, but they're starting to gel together here this afternoon. Here's Matt Elder, the midfielder. Drawing that matchup with the All-American and Zach Goodrich. Now to Tierney. He has been so good so far. Gets free, Tierney! And I don't know if Canto got a piece of that or that just went wide, but just off the mark.
Towson's got to do a better job of defending that play.
Janis stopped by Canto.
Hofstra's gone to it with Tierney and a few other guys. It's just that pick at the top of the box, right in the corner there. And Tierney's used it a bunch of times here today. He's gotten 2 goals off of it, and another good look there. They've got to do a better job on that pick game, communicating, and I think at this point, they've got to switch, jump the guy with the ball, and don't let him just kind of have his hands free and run around and observe what you're doing. Jump it and take that play away.
By the way, we talked about clearing as a question mark for Towson. So far, 6 for 6 in the clears. Much better this afternoon for the Tigers. Skip pass across to Monahan. Resets the shot clock, but Hofstra were able to get the rebound. Griffin Barnathan has to go back with it. Still a little bit of time left for Hofstra to get over midfield. Bobby Casey's got to send this thing. That's a violation. Got to get it over before 60 seconds left on that shot clock, and Bobby Casey didn't recognize it. Would you rather just have him send it there?
Yeah, send it. without a doubt, or put it. Sometimes you put it to the corner, because most times when the ball's at the other end of the field, the defenseman is in front of his attackman. So what you really want to do is put it over those guys' heads, send it to the corner. He should have like a 2 or 3 yard head start to get to that ground ball. So you want to put it over, try to put it to the corner.
Greg Eye behind here to Luke Frommer. Didn't get the start today, but in action. Pass in front to Sunday. He couldn't tiptoe the crease.
Good job collapsing on the inside right there. Santos does a nice job. He's all the way down. Second slide was there. It's good team defense, good help defense on the inside, because that could have been a goal. Nice stick check. Now it's Hofstra's ball, so that's a big play.
Ryan Kennard as Hofstra will get some offensive personnel on the field. Gets it over to Sterling Ardrey. He's got a goal today. U.S. Lacrosse All-American coming out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Had a hat trick against Providence earlier this season. Against Garrett Zingalia. Here comes Kennard. Thought about that for a second. Instead, moves it on to Yanis, and now Elder. 10 seconds on the shot clock for Hofstra. McIntosh, I don't know if he recognized how much time's left, and Yanis just gonna have to send it to the corner.
Thought we were seeing a little around the back there. He had with the short time, couldn't shoot it regularly because the guy was on his bottom hand. Got to at least try to throw something at the net there. Put it behind your back, at least give your team a shot.
And Dylan McIntyre, it's just got to be so hard for him to come back. He took a shot in that Villanova game, which broke his jaw. Talking to Coach Seth Tierney, I don't know how much solid food he's eaten since he took that shot back at the end of February. Reminder, coming up at the half, we'll send you back inside the LSN Broadcast Center. Analyst Chris Marshall will break things down for this game and some of the other games going on around the country, including that Syracuse-Notre Dame clash in the ACC. All coming up here on LAC Sports Network at the half here of Towson and Hofstra. Brendan Sunday's been quiet so far today. A lot of help, a lot of attention on number 24 in white.
I gave him credit for a goal before. It was actually Maloof. So I was trying to work him in there. I'm trying to get him going.
Yeah, nice takeaway there by Michael Altman. Anticipated the pass and stole it away.
Hofstra's looked sharp defensively as well. Done a nice job here with their one-on-one matchups. Haven't had to slid all that much, but when they have had to go, the second and third slide have been there. Look like they just jumped off sides. That's 2 straight possessions where they've turned it over in the clearing game.
Now it comes back here to Towson. Settled 6-on-6 has been difficult here for the Tigers so far, other than Grant Maloof.
Even last week, you and I had the call for the Denver game. They struggled 6-on-6, couldn't really get much going. So they got to find their rhythm here, got to get back into some type of a flow offensively.
Brody McLean with the short stick at X. McLean, backhand, didn't get through Casey. They had Ryan Kennard, the offensive midfielder, stuck on there on McLean. McLean won the matchup, but can't win the war.
And give Casey credit, he's made some big saves. Some one-on-one saves, guys coming around from X, had their hands free and tight. And he's made the saves that he's had to, so he's done a nice job for this Hofstra defense as well.
Impressive on the Hofstra defense, too, because on top of losing all of your starting long pulls and an All-American goalie in Jack Kincannon, they also lost their defensive coordinator as Kevin Unterstein moved on to take a role with North Carolina's coaching staff. So it's a completely new lick unit on that end of the field for Hofstra. It's Joey Alardi. He had a goal. He had his man fall down. Alardi gets it back. Joey Alardi with a pair.
Who had the assist on that? That was good recognition right there. I'm not sure who had that one, but recognizing that the man fell down, Alardi does a good job of reacting right away. Goes right to the goal. Gets his stick up so that when as soon as he caught it, he was in position and ready to go. Let's take a look here if we can see. We can't take a look there, but good job from Alardi, recognizing his man went down. And again, just a little give and go, got it right back and able to finish it on the run.
Sterling Ardrey gets the assist, heads up play by him. And how about this? Joey Alardi entered this game with no career goals. He's got 2 so far in this first half. Career day for him so far for the sophomore from New York.
I think Hofstra's been hiding him, just waiting for this game.
Pretty much, yeah. He did play against Towson last year. That was the only game he played a year ago.
They've been hiding him for 2 years now. It's a heck of a job by Coach Tierney. That's discipline.
Had a face-off, a whistle on that face-off to give it back to Towson here.
Hofstra averages 8. They've already got 6 here with 4 to go. So obviously a much different story for them offensively so far here today. We talked about it's their biggest question mark. It's what's kind of held them back this year so far. But today, the boys have played extremely well.
Let's see if Sunday can get going for Towson here. Skip pass across. He had Frommert, but he couldn't handle that low pass. And we've got a timeout on the field as Hofstra has a 6-4 lead. Alex Woodall in this first half getting the chance to become Towson's all-time face-off wins leader. Needed 3 face-offs in order to tie, 4 to take over the lead, and he did just that. Getting up to 5:08, taking over for this guy, Justin Berry, the former face-off leader, played from 1998 to 2001, and he now is number 2 all-time in face-off wins in Towson history.
It's not a bad guy to replace you. Obviously, Alex Woodall's a great player. He's done a great job for this Towson team for a long time, and he's had a heck of a senior season so far, not just winning face-offs, but creating some early offense, scoring goals, has a few assists on the year, so he's one of those all-around face-off guys that can really do everything for you and spark some transition and really pump some life into the team.
Guy who's done it now in 3 seasons. He started his career at High Point, played 1 year there before transferring to Towson as part of that 2017 run to the Final Four, a big part of that. And then the last 2 years has been really, really good. Won 60% at the X a year ago, and this year, coming into this game, averaging 75% win percentage at the face-off X. Top 2 in the country behind the one, the only TD Erlin at Yale, who has been stellar. And talking to Coach Sean Nadelin about Woodall and what he's meant to the program over the last several years earlier this week, he was just so complimentary of everything that he's meant to this program and the work ethic in order to come back, drop all that weight, and be able to come back this year maybe better than ever has been really impressive. And we've got a new goalie for Towson. Tyler Canto out. Shane Brennan is in. The redshirt sophomore from Huntington Station, New York, did play in 1 game that lost to Cornell earlier this year. And he was a guy who started a bunch of time last year in Cage. Probably would have been the starter coming into this season if not for being injured before Tyler Canto really took control of that spot.
He was the starter at the end of the year last year. You know, had that early season injury. Obviously, Canto came in and did such a great job, had such a hot hand, you can't pull him. You know, the Hofstra and the goalie change sometimes is like what they do in football. You know, it's not always the goalie's fault or the quarterback's fault, but sometimes you got to make that change, spark some life into your team, into your defense. And I think Coach Nads is going to the bench here and trying to wake his guys up a little bit.
Shane Brennan in Cage for Towson. Doesn't matter there. Sterling Ardrey with his 2nd goal of the afternoon.
And here's a guy that can get it going for Hofstra. I had an opportunity to call Hofstra against Ohio State. Didn't really see much from him in that game, but here today, he shows you his speed, his athleticism, gets right there, beats his guy with a little stutter step there just to create enough space and able to finish it right-handed. So this is a guy that can create for this Hofstra offense, win his one-on-one matchup, create his own shot, and then if not, he'll be able to get it out of his stick fast, get that ball spinning, and they can find guys like Tierney and McIntosh on the backside.
So a 3-goal lead here for the Pride, and the 11th ranked Tigers have to find some answers here at the end of the first half. Alex Woodall had a beat on that initial clamp. Finally won here by Towson. Mo Silla scoops up the loose ball, and Towson wants a timeout, knowing that this could be an important possession here with under 3 minutes to go in this first half.
And you wonder if Towson is just kind of feeling the effects of that 3-game grind that they're coming out of. You know, the energy's just not there today. You know, you talk about Cornell, Duke, Denver, and even before that Cornell game, they played Jacksonville, so they played 2 games in 3 days. And then again, go Cornell, Duke, Denver, and now you get a Hofstra team that's a big-time rival. Just do they have enough energy? They do have enough life coming out of that tough stretch. So far, they haven't had it here today. They need somebody to spark them. They need somebody to make a play and get them going. They need some energy. Got to start playing with some more passion.
Tyler Canto made just 2 saves in those first 8 shots, gave up 6 goals, so they decide to make the change. They go to Shane Brennan. He's given up 1 so far in his first shot he's seen. And that's got to be a tough position for a guy in Shane Brennan. You walked into this season thinking, all right, I'm entering before you get injured, you're probably going to be the starter. Instead, you see another guy take your job. Now you're getting some opportunities, and all you want to do is go out there and prove yourself and take that job back.
Yeah, absolutely. And both these guys, they need help from the guys in front of them, because a lot of these goals here today have been easy looks and some easy shots. And like I said before, it's not always the goalie. You know, you can't change all the defensive guys. You can't swap out a new 6. So the easiest change is to go to the goalie, make a change there. But again, the guys in front of them have got to do a better job as well.
And the offense has got to get something going here as well. Scored just the 6 goals last week in the loss to Denver. So far held mostly in check. Only 4 goals for this Tigers offense that averages over 12 per game. This is Brendan Sunday. He has been quiet, just 1 assist so far today. Skip pass back out to Monahan. Shot a little wide.
Hofstra done a much better job with their slide recovery today on defense. Like I said, I called that Ohio State game a few weeks ago, and it was 1 slide, and Ohio State threw it right to the middle, and it was easy goals all day.
McLean spins and wins. He's got a pair.
McLean gets himself to that 5-and-5 spot, so talking from goal line extended and out from the pipe. 5 yards up, 5 yards out. The worst place you could be as a defenseman, because you're basically on an island, and this offensive player can go either way. So you overplay him to the top side, he spins to his left hand, and he's able to find that far corner. So nice play from McLean, getting to that 5-and-5 spot. Slides a little late, and it's a tough place to slide to begin with, but comes a little late, and he's able to finish it out of the turn there, left-handed.
Now 20 goals on the season for McLean. Woodall wins it forward to himself. Ahead to Sunday. An extra pass, and Sunday turns it over.
I think he could have let that one go or gone right to his left down the base, because the Hofstra defenseman coming across wasn't there yet. That was a tough look. It was almost like he predetermined that he was going to go there with the ball as soon as he caught it. You got to read the defense, be patient, and take what they're giving you. He should have either shot it or sent it down to the base right to his left.
We got another timeout here, and that's been the kind of bread and butter for Towson. You get the face-off win from Alex Woodall. He finds Sunday right there on that spot, and he has been able to cash in left and right, but just not quite there as he tried to skip pass across. At the end of conference play, a champion will be crowned, and of course you can see the men's and women's CAA tournaments right here on LAC Sports Network, May 3rd through the 5th. You can watch the semifinals of the men's side. It'll be hosted by the top seed in the regular season. The women's tournament will be at James Madison University this year, and we, of course, for the second year in a row, have the CAA championship for both the men's and women's right here on LAC Sports Network. So Hofstra takes the timeout. They've got a possession here, and there's a little differential between the shot clock and game clock, but they can take this thing down to about 25 seconds with a good, long, solid possession. Make sure you're going into the half with a comfortable lead.
Absolutely. You don't want to give Towson any opportunities here. Your message to your team is obviously you're talking offense, what type of plays you're getting into, what type of set you're going to run, but you're also talking to them about getting in the hole and stopping any transition. You don't want to give Towson an easy one here. You know, let them score with 10 or 15 seconds left, start to get some momentum. We talked about it. They haven't had that life to them yet as a team. You don't want to give it to them. So you're talking offense, and then you remind them at the end of the huddle, hey, get in the hole. Don't give up anything early here. I mean, anything easy here. And let's try to go into this worst case with a 2-goal lead.
Joey Alardi sails one high. I don't know who was backing that up, but I believe it was Yanis behind there at X. Still plenty of time to operate here on the shot clock for Hofstra. Yanis goes to work on Kobe Smith. Now Tierney, already a hat trick in this first half. Been able to create for himself, this time going right-handed, but Gray Bowden able to get a stick in there.
And that's where you got to force him to go. You got to make him a right-handed player. You can't let him get topside and sweep across the field lefty, because that's where he's deadly.
10 seconds left on the shot clock for Alardi, shot wide. Still 6 seconds left here for Hofstra to get one more run at this. Yanis gets free with one, but instead sends it to a corner. And that's going to be a flag because Yanis delay a game.
As soon as I saw him roll it out, I knew it was a penalty. You know what the play is. With 1 second, you've got to roll it. You can't wait for the horn to blow and then roll it. As soon as he let it go, I said, I knew this was going to be a penalty. Take a look.
Yep. And what I don't understand about that is why do you run toward the goal at that point if you're not going to make a run at the cage with 3 seconds left?
You got to know the situation, and you can't take a penalty on something like that. Again, you know the clock's running down. Even if you want to take a step or two and then roll it, but it was so obvious that the horn blew, the whistle blew. Like I said, as soon as I saw him come out of his stick that late, I knew it was going to be a penalty.
It's our first extra man of the entire first half here. The first flag of the day goes to Hofstra. A 30-second man up. The clock continued to run, the game clock here, after that penalty had been called. So they're going to put a little bit more time back on, I believe. Yep, 22 seconds. So you can essentially get almost an entire man up here for Towson with this 30-second penalty.
Which magnifies that mistake even more.
Towson at 36% on the year at the extra man. Sunday. Down low, skip pass across, deflected. 3 seconds left, and Maloof is going to just hold on to it. So Towson will keep possession as they walk into the third quarter, but Hofstra has the lead. 30 minutes gone by and the start of CAA play, and the Pride with that slight waved clean looking good. They're on upset alert here at Johnny Unitas Stadium. Towson down by 2 as we enter the half here on LAC Sports Network. Let's go back inside the LSN Broadcast Center for the halftime report.
Starting to really build some confidence there at the face-off X, and that is a really good sign for Hofstra.
Big start for a lot of parts of this Hofstra team, and Tierney already has a hat trick.
Again, starting to really build some confidence there at the face-off X, and that is a really good sign for Hofstra.
Welcome into the Ellison Broadcast Center for our halftime report. Currently, Hofstra up 7-5 over ranked Towson. Now, this game has been good. Now, if you missed any of the highlights, let's go ahead and get you all caught up on what has been going on in the first half. So, the Tigers, they were coming into this game looking for revenge on the Pride, who beat them last season on Long Island, but this time they're hosting. Let's go to the first quarter. We're all tied up at 1. Grant Maloof, he's going to get his second goal of the game already firing it from afar. So Towson takes the 2-1 lead. But then later in the first, same score. Sterling Ardrey comes down the side. He shoots low, and he scores to tie things up at 2 to get Hofstra back in this game. But then Hofstra up 3-2 now. Ryan Tierney, he's coming down the side across the middle, and he fires it in for his second goal of the game. He wouldn't be done. Hofstra takes a 4-2 lead. Second quarter we go, Towson down 2. It's Brody McLean. He gets the rebound off of the goalie in the side, and he scores. So Towson cuts the game within 1 to make it 4-3. Same score. This time Tierney with the underhand shot. Ooh, just fires it in. That's his third of the game and third in the first half to make the lead 5-3. And then here we go. Hofstra just rolling. It's Joey Ilardi. He fires it one pass. And so currently Hofstra up 7-5 at the half. Leading the way for Hofstra has been Ryan Tierney. He's got 3 goals so far. Ardrey's got 2 goals, and Ilardi's added 2 on himself. Grant Maloof having 3 goals, but you know, a lot of it has been about the goalie play for Towson and about the face-off play. Tyler Canto was just pulled late in that second quarter of the game, and number 11 Towson down 2 at the half. And here are the stats and what's been going on in the tail of the tape so far right now. So as you guys see, the record is 5-3 for Towson, 3-6 for Hofstra, but this starts conference play. Clean slate for both teams. Currently, they are both even at shots of the first half alone. They both have 19 shots, and saves right now is Towson only has 2. Hofstra has 6 so far. So for more, to break all this down, we got to bring in our Ellison analyst, Chris Marshall, because this game has been so interesting. And Chris, we thank you for joining us so far. What has been your initial reactions in the first half?
Well, I mean, it's CAA play. I think when you look at these teams, it doesn't really matter where they're going to be in the ranking. This is always going to be a tough matchup. There are no easy wins in conference. So I expected this one to be a good game. You know, I sort of expected Towson to play a little better, but this Hofstra team has a lot of talent, albeit on the younger side. But this is a team that I think has been improving every week, and I don't think their record is indicative of their ability in terms of what they can do on the field.
And Chris, we got to talk about the face-off play. Alex Woodall became the program's leader, all-time winning in face-off wins today in this game, but he's been struggling, and Herbert's having a great game for Hofstra so far.
I think Herbert's doing a really good job of kind of mucking things up. He's making it tough on Woodall to get the ground ball. You see sort of the longer battles at the X where he's just sort of daring him to try and go away and really making things tough. And the wings are doing a good job of coming in and collapsing quickly as well. And I think what we saw here was Woodall get into his head a little bit. I think after he tied the record, I'm pretty sure he knew how many he needed to get to win the record. Barry was at the game last week. They took a picture together. So, I mean, he was aware of what was at stake in becoming the all-time leader. So I think he got in his head a little bit. We saw Herbert win 3 or 4 in a row. And then once Woodall got the record-breaking face-off, it seemed like he settled in and won a couple in a row. So I think he'll be fine in the second half. I think he was just getting a little nervy before he was able to break that record. But Herbert's definitely been holding his own against one of the top face-off guys in the country.
And someone else who has been holding their own in this game is for Hofstra is goalie Casey. He already got 6 saves on the day. And then when you look at Tyler Canto, he was pulled late in the second quarter, and Towson only have 2 saves in this game. What have you seen in that goalie play?
I mean, that's really the difference. I think you look at this, they've had the same number of shots, and actually Towson has more shots on goal than Hofstra does by 2, 11-9 in that category. So this is a Hofstra team that's shooting better, and the goalie play just hasn't been great. You look at Shane Brennan coming in, and obviously, you know, he's a seasoned veteran. He's a guy that's had a lot of experience, playoff experience, and to be able to bring him in, I think, is something that's important. I think it was more of a psychological move to really light a fire under the defense. Like, hey, you know, you guys are letting your goalie down, so we're gonna have to pull him. because Canto wasn't playing great. He only had 2 saves on 8 shots on goal. But I think the defense hasn't been playing as well as you'd expect a Sean Nadalin defense to play. So I'm not sure you can blame all of that on Canto. But when you've got a backup as good as Brennan, I say you go to it, even if it's just a move to kind of try and fire up the defense.
And for Hofstra, this game, they're playing really, really great in the first half, but the game is still very close. How can Hofstra get a little bit more separation in the second half?
Well, I think this is just going to come down to the adjustments they make at halftime. I think when you look at the players that have been scoring, obviously Tierney's the guy. He's their best player. And I think as the half has gone on, Towson's done a little better job of forcing him back to his right hand. I mean, you give him his left on one of those sweeps, I mean, he's basically automatic. What I've been impressed with are the other guys, Ardrey, Ilarde. Both of those guys, they have 4 goals combined on the day on 5 points. Ardrey's got an assist, but those guys coming in only had 5 combined goals. So they're able to get some scoring from some guys that I think Towson was not expecting to be on the score sheet. So I think Hofstra's doing a good job of using the matchups to their advantage. Towson, a team that really doesn't like to slide. They like to trust their defenders. And that's something that I like and appreciate. But also, Hofstra's doing a good job of spreading out that defense and then creating some good shots based on the matchups they have. So I think Towson's going to have to clean it up a little bit on the defensive side. And as long as Hofstra's continuing to go at the matchup they like, they'll have opportunities to score.
All right, well, thank you so much, Chris. We'll see who makes the right adjustments come the second half. Chris will be back for post-game to break down the whole entire game, so make sure you're still tuning in. All right, for more scores around the league, let's check in with our scoreboard and see what's been going on right now. We have the full screen coming up. So far, I think Notre Dame and Syracuse, that game is going on also right now, but also for other weekend CAA games, we got Drexel and UMass. That game is on at 1 Eastern, and a couple is probably just underway right now. In Delaware and Fairfield also right underway and going on in the CAA. All right, let's move on to Coach Jeff Tramboni telling Penn State newspaper, the Daily Collegian, that Amen is day-to-day as he deals with a lower body injury. Tramboni added that Amen's done a good job of taking care of himself and his business over the course of the week and has done a great job of recovering from this injury. Now, Amen, of course, missed all of 2018 with a foot injury as well. And here are some other scores from around the league. So we got Notre Dame and Syracuse. Notre Dame up big, 11-2 on Syracuse. That game probably a little shocker. That game's going on ESPNU and going on that just got underway. Loyola and Colgate, that's on Stadium. And Yale and Penn, both of those teams are on current winning streaks, wanting their winning streak to continue. And then, down in Chapel Hill, Duke taking on North Carolina. Duke released a cool hype video on their Twitter. They are all ready and set and go. And Duke's saying that they have the best blue. That game is on ESPNU at 2 p.m. Eastern. Of course, tune in tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern for all the highlights from all the games from around the college game. And we'll have more analysis from around the league. So make sure you're tuned in tonight on LSN or on the LSN app. All right, that'll do it for me for this halftime report. I'll be back at postgame. Now for more, enjoy the second half of Hofstra and Towson. Travis and Steve, take it away.
60 million people in the U.S. face the day-to-day reality of living with a mental illness. Even though most people can experience relief from their symptoms and support for their recovery, less than half of the adults in the U.S. who need mental health services get the help they need.
People experiencing mental health conditions frequently face negative labeling, bullying, and even discrimination.
Some people describe stigma as shame that can be felt as a judgment.
Break the stigma. Don't be afraid to get help. We are the CAA.
We're on upset alert at Johnny Unitas Stadium as we start the second half. The 11th ranked Towson Tigers down 7-5 to CAA rival Hofstra here as conference play opens up. Travis Eldridge, Steve Panarelli back with you. And Steve, when we look at these highlights, Towson got a couple of goals, for a trio of goals from Grant Maloof, a couple from Brody McLean. But outside of those guys, Brendan, Sunday relatively quiet, and Hofstra has had a lot of answers all afternoon long.
Hofstra has really, wouldn't say dominated this first half, but they've looked very strong in their first half. Doing a good job at the face-off X against one of the top guys in the country, if not the top guy. Defensively, they've looked sound, and then offensively, Tierney, Alardi, Ardrey done a nice job here for them offensively. The big question mark we talked about before the game was who's going to step up for them offensively. We knew about Tierney. Could they start to gel as a unit? And so far, they have done that today, and this is the best they've looked offensively all season long.
Yeah, it's a team that averages only about 8.5 goals per game. They already have 7 in this first half, including that last one from Sterling Ardrey. He had 2 goals and an assist. Joey Alardi also with the pair, and we had seen a goalie change for Towson there at the end of the first half. Shane Brennan came in to sub in for Tyler Canto, so we'll see if he can make some saves, because Canto only had 2 in his 26 minutes of action. But what is happening here to start the second half is a carryover of this penalty. So Towson, no need for a face-off, and they cash in. From way downtown, it's Timmy Monahan. Tigers strike first early.
And that was quick. Timmy Monahan right off the whistle there. Gets the second half going here for the Tigers. So just right off of a simple pass. Hosh, a little communication right out of the break there. Not sure, 2 guys were, when you're man down and you got 2 guys going to the ball, that's not a good sign. You've got to be communicating there. Who's the next guy on the string to show up to the guy with the ball as it makes its way around? And Monahan does a nice job of just stepping down, getting his feet set, and letting it rip high.
Monahan likes it, loves it, wants some more of it. That is a man-up goal. They still had about 8 seconds left on that extra man, so the Jimmy Yanis delay of game penalty does come back to haunt the Pride here to start the second half. You weren't with us for the end of the first half. Yanis, with time winding down on the shot clock, held on to it, ran toward the goal, and then after the whistle had thrown the ball to the corner. Problem is you can't throw the ball to the corner after the whistle is already blown.
Got to do it while in play. 1 second left, you roll that thing. You could throw it into the stands, it doesn't matter. But again, right after that horn blew and the whistle blew, he rolled it. We knew it right away it was going to be a penalty. And like you said, it's come back to hurt them here to start this half. Gets Towson some life, get him back into this game here early in the second half.
Here's Ryan Tierney looking to get free. Runs through about 3 different Tigers, but sent behind the cage. Joey Alardi, number 29, back in there, gives it back to Tierney. Tough angle, saved by Brennan. So Shane Brennan, his first save since subbing in the final 4 minutes of that first half, and maybe that could trigger some offense here for the Tigers.
And those are the type of looks you want to give to your goalies. Low angle, outside, let them see the ball, start to get some confidence.
Kobe Smith saved by Casey.
We've seen that a few weeks in a row now with Kobe Smith. You've got to treat him like an offensive player. Obviously, he doesn't score there, hits the pipe, but you've got to recognize the personnel, who has the ball on their stick. Just because he has a long pole, you can't discredit him. You've got to slide to him. You've got to treat him like a offensive or a short stick defensive midfielder.
Yeah, Kobe Smith, 9 points on the season with 6 goals. The guy who get up and go. Talked to him this week. Crazy thing about it is this, he said, by far the best offensive season of his career. He had like 3 combined goals in all of high school. So something triggered for him this season, and he's had it going.
You would think a guy like that in high school, every year had 10 or 15 goals with the way he's doing it right now in Division I, but he's been a big piece to this Towson team. Not only is he good in transition, I like his game defensively too. He can cover. He's good off the ground. He's good on, he's good off ball with getting his stick in passing lanes and creating turnovers. So I like his game. He brings it all, and I love the aspect of getting out and playing in transition.
Kobe Smith has the matchup with Yanis here. He's caught up, but only 13 seconds left on the shot clock. Out to Ardrey. 8 seconds left for Alardi. That one hit a helmet. And with 2 seconds left, let's see if Giannis learned his lesson. He did. You know, Coach Tierney let him hear about that one.
I was just going to say that I saw him and Coach Tierney have a nice, lengthy conversation right before half. I don't think they were talking about what they were doing after the game. And obviously, whatever Coach said to him, it seems to have worked.
And there's a turnover there in the clearing game. That'll go down as a perfect clear. It's a turnover afterward. Giannis, a chance, and no one there to back it up. So Brennan wins the race to the end line. Clearing such an issue for this Towson team entering today. 75.5% entering this game in the clear. That's second worst in the entire country. 72nd of 73 teams. So far today, pretty good as you get another clear there. And did he go over the midline with less than 60? He did. Grant Malouf turns it over.
And it's really unexplainable. You know, obviously they're a talented team. They got guys who can handle the ball. We talk about a guy like Kobe Smith, who's your long stick defender. You know he can handle the rock and make plays for you. So it's just really unexplainable, the low numbers on clearing. It's really just mental mistakes at that point. But like you said, the teams here today, they're starting to clean it up and start to get that going in the right direction.
And that was the first technically failed clear for Towson today. So much better job so far. Brennan with another stop. Couple of early saves for Shane Brennan, much needed for the Tigers.
And that's a big save because Towson had a breakdown there defensively in the zone. Nobody went to the guy with the ball, had a free look, and Brennan does a good job of making that save.
Osilla brings it in, getting his first action of his freshman season. Coming out of the Landon School, native of Rockville, Maryland. Different pieces seeing some action here today for Towson as they try to mix things up, trying to snap this 3-game losing streak. Greg I down the alley. This is Grant Malouf. He's got a short stick matchup, had a hat trick in the first half. Looking for more. At X, it's Luke Frommer. Frommer didn't get the start today, dealing with some sickness that was going around the locker room, but is available and seeing some action here. And that's a turnover. They'll say that was a pass. You can start your lacrosse Saturdays with LSN College Central here on LAC Sports Network, beginning 11:30 a.m. Eastern every week. We'll get you ready for all the biggest games of the weekend from around the country. Don't let your game day begin without checking out LSN College Central, only on LAC Sports Network. Of course, talked about this game before leading into this noon Eastern face-off in our CAA game of the week. And Jimmy Giannis, who's drawn the Kobe Smith matchup, has had a tough time getting things going here for Hofstra so far. He's been held without a point. And a takeaway there by Zach Goodrich. An All-American for a reason, pokes it free. Kobe Smith started running without the ground ball. It's still loose. Singalia gets it.
Looked like youth soccer there for a little bit, kicking it around. Towson able to come away with it, though.
Those are some of the plays in the defensive end. Saves, a couple of takeaways, you win a loose ball scrum. It can change momentum of a game like this.
Absolutely, big stop, or a guy takes it away from somebody. For whatever reason, if a defenseman scores or makes a big play, it usually gives energy to the whole bench, and that usually carries to the opposite side of the field. So let's see what Towson can do offensively here.
Got a very enthusiastic fan for the Tigers.
Yeah, I've been
right by one of our microphones on the field.
Been listening to it for a little while now. I was about to say something.
Hey,
before
you got a young kid.
Yeah. Oh, please. I want no part of him next to a microphone at a game.
Casey Wasserman sends to Sunday. Let's see if Sunday can get something going. Just an assist in that first half. Beecham stripped away.
Good job by Hofstra.
Yeah, Mark Ellis able to take it away, but a whistle. And this one will stay with Towson, and I believe a fresh 80 seconds.
And that's a guy I like too. I like Santos. Another athletic defender. Gets up and down. He's feisty. He'll hit you. He's good off the ground. He can get out in transition. Not the biggest guy, but he's athletic, and I like his game a lot as well.
Casey Wasserman sends it back to Sunday. Monahan, the only goal so far in this second half. Out top to McLean. Shot sails wide, and Brody McLean with the backup. Reminder for people not fans of Towson watching, Jake and Brody are not brothers, not related whatsoever, just share a last name. And Brody with a hat trick.
"7-7" as that proud fan reminds us. Towson tying it up, McLean. Nice play here, the big guy coming off of that pick there. Just bodies right there, gets into his defender, and then uses him as a screen. Does a nice job dropping his level, and again, using the defender on him as a screen and being able to finish that. So it's a nice play from McLean. And again, we got ourselves a tie ball game here.
The first tie in this thing since we were all knotted up at 2 apiece in the first quarter. So Towson has found their way back, trailed by as many as 3 so far in that first half. But a face-off win by Alex Woodall gives them a chance to take their first lead. Excuse me, they did lead 2-1. Looking to take their first lead since early on in this game.
I think one thing, Towson offensively, Hofstra's not afraid to slide. They'll come at you pretty quick with their slides. They've got to get, once they recognize that guy's coming, he's committed, he's taking 2 to 3 steps. He's committed to the slide. You've got to move it right away. I think they've been slow with getting the ball out of their stick. So the guy that's dodging, once that slide comes, you got to move it right away. Either bang it to X.
Greg I, his second goal of the season.
Or do that. You could just do that because that's even easier than moving the ball to X and trying to work it to the backside. But that's the other point to it. If the slide doesn't come and you can create your own shot, then you're the first option. You're the guy with the ball. You're the threat. Guy with the ball in his stick. And I does a nice job of here, right here. No slide coming. Get a little bit of a half slide. Guy just throws a slap check. He runs right through that and able to finish left-handed. So it's the opposite of what I was saying. If the slide doesn't come, you've got to be the threat. You've got to be the guy that makes the play. But again, if the slide does come, get it out of your stick right away. Get it behind the X and then move it to the backside. You can kind of catch Hofstra there. If you can move it faster, then they can rotate.
4 straight goals for Towson. A face-off violation by Brian Herber will give it back to the Tigers. And this is the Towson team that we found to be so dangerous at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
You score, you get a face-off win, and the offense goes right back on the attack.
It's like when you played pickup basketball with your friends. It's that winners out mentality. You score it, get it right back, and get back on offense. That's the Towson Tiger way of playing, and that's when they've had their success this year.
Louvre trying to get that left hand free. Skip pass intercepted.
See right there, that slide came early, and instead of moving it to the next guy to your left or your right, okay, and then having him make that pass, he tried to skip it right through. Hofstra did a good job of having their sticks to the inside, so make the easy pass and let that guy get the assist. Don't try to force it through the heart of the defense.
Hofstra finally able to get an offensive set here after an extended run for the defense. Pride all of a sudden have seen that 3-goal lead evaporate. 4 straight has given Towson the lead back. Let's see if they can answer. It's Riley Forte. Gets it back to Yanis. Now Dylan McIntosh. McIntosh playing in his first game since late February when he went out with an injury against Villanova. Had to have his jaw wired shut with a broken jaw. Number 21 in royal blue finally seeing some action once again. Under 15 on the shot clock for Hofstra. Giannis from X has not been able to turn that corner against Kobe Smith. That shot sails high. And just 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Giannis really doesn't have any other option here.
He's definitely learned his lesson. That's 2 in a row now. That's a big improvement.
And you look at the way this second half has started, that penalty at the end of the first half where he didn't roll the ball, he rolled the ball to the corner after the whistle, gave the 32nd man up. Towson held over that penalty into the start here in the third quarter, scored right away, and that has been a big momentum shift here.
Yes, it has. That goal got some life into Towson. And like we said, now Woodall's starting to get it going at the face-off X, so it's that winners out mentality. You're starting to play a lot more defense than you did in the first half, and tables have turned here in the second half. Has Towson now with the 1-goal lead.
Michael Altman and Hofstra have done a really good job on Sunday here. Draws the short stick matchup. Sunday hands free, shot deflected away. And he's able to get his own rebound. But just 1 assist for Brendan Sunday, the leading point getter for Towson. McLean cashes in. It's the other McLean, Jake, the junior, puts one home.
And Towson's starting to roll now. You take a look at McLean here. Nice job right there, coming out of that dodge, getting to his right hand. Recognizing that the defender sliding upfield at him was a little bit out of position, went right away. As soon as he caught that ball, he was ready to dodge, ready to go, in position. Caught that defender off balance with his approach, and then able to finish it right-handed.
The California kid pumping some California love as part of his goal song. I like that. As Brian Herbert finally wins a face-off here for Hofstra. Much needed, and the Pride get a possession as Santos will bring it in.
I'd like to see Hofstra go back to attacking from the midfield. Use those picks again. It seemed to have worked pretty well for them in the first half. Get back to those picks, to the corners of the box, in those upper 90s. And alley dodges. Just run at your guys. They were able to just create space, let that midfielder just take a run at a guy, get enough of a step going down the alley and get their hands free. Again, I'd like to see them go back to the midfielders and start to use it right there. There's that pick game that worked for them in the first half.
This is Ardrey. Gets in the hands of Ryan Tierney. Had a hat trick in the first half. Has been quiet here in the third quarter so far. Hands free off the post. That thing beat Brennan, but couldn't get inside that far post. Chad Patterson brings it over here for the Tigers. Much better in the clearing game today for Towson. And now on a 5-goal run, looking to add to it.
Hofstra needs to stop here. Got to get a stop here. Can't let them extend this lead. Need to get a stop here. Get it back to your offense. Get momentum going back in your favor, because right now it's been all Towson here in the second half. Can't let them score here.
Greg I getting the start in the first midfield here. He's got a goal. That's a really good thing for this Towson offense. Maloof with the hat trick. He rolls out of trouble. Right hand saved by Casey.
And they needed that save from Casey. Like I said, that's a huge stop for them. Get it back to your offense. You can kind of kill the clock here and kind of play almost for the last shot. It's pretty close.
Yeah, you can. There's a little bit more time here, and we've got a flag down.
And now you can definitely kill this quarter here with that flag down. Take as much time as you want right now. Work for a really good look, knowing that you're going to get that man-up opportunity to close out this third quarter. So, good opportunity here for the Hofstra offense.
First flag of the day for Towson, so a free opportunity for Giannis and company as he gets a pick from McIntosh. And the differential, the shot clock will, more time on the shot clock than on the game clock. So Hofstra can take this thing all the way down to the end if they want. Archery draws another flag, and that will trigger both penalties. If that's on Goodrich, they're going to be down not only Kobe Smith, but also Zach Goodrich on this man down for Towson.
It's like being 4 men down when you lose those 2 guys.
So you're 2 of the best defenders in the country. Like a couple of 30-second penalties here. And it is Kobe Smith for interference, Zach Goodrich for holding.
It's one of those weird times.
Yeah, what do you do here?
I hate this. It's very hard because you basically have 2 short man-up opportunities, and so it's tough. Looks like coach is going to let it play. So he'll have a short one to start the 4th. But yeah, it's one of those weird times on what to do there.
And the face-off has to be such a factor here for Hofstra because Towson dominated that 3rd quarter.
Correct.
With Alex Woodall. So this way, they ensure they will get the ball to start the 4th, but they got some work to do. All Tigers in the 3rd quarter. Towson on a it's a Hofstra timeout with 2 seconds left. Nope, it's not. We go to the end of the quarter. A 5-goal run for Towson to take a 9-7 lead over the Pride to start CAA play. Hofstra will get it back when we return here on LAC Sports Network.
Hello, I'm Megan Triplett, and welcome inside the Ellison Broadcast Center. After 3 quarters, Towson now has the lead 9-7. But before we get you out to the 4th quarter, let's talk about Navy. They're in Massachusetts taking on Holy Cross this afternoon. And on Friday, they practiced at Gillette Stadium. And the Midshipmen got a visit from Patriots head coach Bill Belichick. And who even had his stick out there? Belichick, of course, a former Wesleyan lacrosse player. And it's really no surprise to see the notoriously grumpy Belichick smiling here. These are 2 of the things that make him very happy. If you ask Tom Brady, he'll agree.
To make Bill Belichick laugh today.
You could do it.
What is the easiest way to make Bill laugh?
Man. I have no idea.
Or even smile. Is it possible to get him to smile?
Just say Navy, lacrosse, Lawrence Taylor,
Bon Jovi?
Bon Jovi, those 4.
All right, now if you want college lacrosse highlights, we've got college lacrosse highlights tonight. Lacrosse Now at 9 o'clock Eastern. It's the only place you can get all the wrap-up of all the big men's and women's games of the day. And of course, it's free right here on LSN. For more, we'll get you out to Towson and Hofstra. Enjoy the 4th quarter.
Start of the 4th quarter here in the CAA conference opener for Hofstra and Towson, the 11th ranked Tigers coming back in that 3rd quarter. A 5-goal run, 4 of the goals in that 3rd frame to take a 9-7 lead here over the Pride. But Hofstra with 13 seconds left on the man up to start this 3rd quarter. 2 men up actually. And both of those penalties now released. We're back to even strength. Shot on the side. Brennan with enough of it. Big time penalty kill there for the Tigers.
I feel like the next goal is very critical to this game. I think, if you're Hofstra, you get back within 1, you're right back in the game. I think if the lead goes to 3, it becomes that much more difficult. So the next goal is big for either one of these teams.
And when you had Goodrich and Kobe Smith in the box, Saunders Healy getting some action. He comes in and makes a nice play to get the loose ball and get Towson a possession back. Not the ideal situation for the Tigers with those 2 guys taking penalties at the same time.
Their timing was good, though, because it broke up that penalty and gave them short time on both ends of the quarter, so that definitely helped.
Brody McLean was busy there in the 3rd quarter, but stopped by Casey. Here comes Hofstra.
They got numbers.
That pass to McIntosh incomplete, and that's a turnover.
Went for the home run pass. Probably could have looked to his right, thrown it across the top, and made that Towson defense slide and react. And then once you can start to get them spinning, that's when those things open up. But he took the home run pass, couldn't hook it up, and a quick turnover there for Hofstra.
You're just joining us. Shane Brennan came in at the end of the first half for Tyler Canto and Cage for Towson. Canto making just 2 saves on 8 shots in the first 26 minutes. Brennan hasn't had to do a whole lot. Towson's offense has had the ball for a lot of this third quarter, but a couple of stops, just 1 goal against for Brennan so far since he's come in. Now back to Sunday. Turns the corner, bounce shot goes. 6 straight for the Tigers.
We've been waiting on Sunday. He's their guy. He's their senior leader. He's their best offensive player, leads them in points. And I said the next goal would be critical, and who else but Sunday comes up with a big goal for him, gets top side. It's not a bad job defensively. You got to try to cut your angle down, get in front of him, start to get him going back towards X. You want to turn him around goal line extended, but Sunday has the step on him, uses that tall frame, gets his arms and his hands up nice and high, and able to finish.
Already a career year for Brendan Sunday with 25 goals, now 39 points with goal and an assist as Woodall wins another face-off. All the way through, stripped away on his way to the cage.
I didn't realize he got stripped. I was like, where is this guy going right now? He's going to run right through the goal.
Altman coming the other way. He wants some. Altman answers.
And that's like a 2-goal swing right there. Altman answering. Woodall's a guy that obviously we know can finish offensively when he goes right down the heart of the defense there. Hofstra made a nice check, got the ball free, goes back the other way. And then Altman, the 6-foot pole, nice job shooting overhand. It's one of the hardest shots for goalies to see when a defenseman shoots it overhand because it's coming from so high. They're not used to seeing it from that type of angle. And he does a good job of finishing it. And like I said, that's almost like a 2-goal swing. And you could tell Hofstra, the whole bench exploded there. They needed to play, something to spark them, and then bang, right here, they get a face-off win, which is huge.
Altman must be a fan of the new PLL team, the Archers, with that celebration.
A lot of guys going with that celebration lately.
I know.
In all sports, I'm totally out of the loop of where that comes from.
I did find out where Kobe Smith's arm-waving celebration came from. He's a big Giants fan.
Not a boy.
And during that Hopkins game, he was thinking of Saquon after he scored, but he had a stick in his one hand, so he couldn't do the swimming motion. He had to just go with the one arm, and it stuck.
That's my guy right there, big Giants fan.
There you go, big Giants fan.
All right.
Not sure he's a fan of the Eli Manning situation going on here, but he is a fan of the team.
I told you I liked his game. I mean, I knew there was something about that guy I liked.
Takes a lot for a kid from Baltimore to be a Giants fan.
Smart kid.
Tierney gets free, and we've got a crease violation on Ryan, and turnover back to Towson. He's been quiet in this second half after the hat trick in the first. And Kobe Smith brings it in. Wednesday nights here on Lax Sports Network, it's CAA Press Pass. We'll bring you all the latest news and notes from around the conference. Prepare you for the biggest games of the week. It's CAA Press Pass on Lax Sports Network every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. LSN and the free LSN app you can watch on your TV or phone. Now with conference play, Press Pass the place to be to get all caught up on everything you need to know about this conference, and it's going to be a fight to the finish. McLean stopped on the doorstep. Good backup there by Beecham. So they wanted McLean to McLean.
It's like the Die Hard movie, right? McLean. It's my guy.
How many times the two of them you think they've heard that in their
probably,
lives?
yeah. I apologize. I had to go there.
One from Canada, one from California. Who knew?
What part? Where is he from Canada? What part?
Ontario.
Oh, so he's totally East Coast guy.
Yeah. It's Casey Wasserman brings it in, gets it over to Beecham. Look for the second midfield unit to try to get something going. It's been a question mark for Towson throughout. That shot saved. Sunday back out to Frommer, and another stop by Casey. Let's see if Hofstra can get another in transition. Barnathan over to Tierney. Pushed away by Bowden. Bowden saw enough of Tierney getting that left hand free in the first half.
Got it. Like I said, you've got to try to make him go right. He can, even as he goes right, he showed here today, he can finish left-handed, but still, make him go right, take your chances there. Can't let him sweep around the front and across the top of the formation. Got to make him a righty. Almost got to treat him like a Canadian player.
Giannis knocked over by Kobe Smith, and that's a crease violation. Giannis can kind of have that jitterbug feel behind the cage. Kobe Smith was having none of it.
He got bench pressed right there, Kobe Smith. Kobe Smith is a physical guy. You could just tell he's a strong guy, and he showed it right there on the corner.
Kobe Smith added to the Tewaaraton watch list a couple of weeks ago. Certainly in the All-America conversation after his performances against the likes of Pat Spencer, Jeff Teat, Ethan Walker, all guys who...
Those guys are pretty good.
Yeah, some of the best offensive players in the country. Kobe Smith has drawn those assignments.
Yeah, I've heard of those guys.
I think everybody in the lacrosse world had his eye off the pipe.
In all different types of matchups, too.
Yeah.
You know, Teat and Spencer and Walker all do it a different way, so it's not like, you know, sometimes you get like three of the same guys in a row, so, you know, straight speed, they're, you know, speed dodgers or change of direction types guys, but those three all do it a different way, so that's tough week in and week out, adjusting and getting ready for those types of guys.
Got the defense moving. Eye shot not on frame.
And you're right, got the defense moving. That's exactly what I was talking about before. You can draw that slide and you can either bang it to X or spin and turn and get it back up top. You can find guys on the backside and get those, you know, 10 to 12 yard shots with time. Gotta just move it faster than they can rotate, and they did it that time.
Here comes Sunday. Skip pass across, and just hasn't been on that pass the last couple of games we've seen from Towson. Those are some of the passes they were cashing in on when this offense had it clicking at the beginning of the year.
Just ask Hopkins, and I think they connected on every single one of those.
They did not miss.
No.
They're down by 2, under 8 minutes to go in this one. Hofstra could use a goal. Just one goal so far in the second half for the Pride after they scored 7 in the first 30 minutes.
Plenty of time, though, if you're Hofstra, right? No need to panic. You're not getting dominated to face-off X. You know, if you were getting killed there, you want to start to maybe rush a little bit because you don't know how many possessions you're going to have left. But plenty of time. Your guy Herber's done a good job battling there. You've got some confidence in there, so keep playing your offense. Plenty of time. No reason to hit the panic button yet.
And it looks like Towson's dropped back into a zone here. Kennard.
Look at you making the zone call. Oh, boy.
Watched enough of Towson over the last several weeks.
You're a step ahead of me, recognizing the zone.
Tierney. They could really use something out of Tierney here. Kennard lost it, and here comes Kobe Smith.
Give it to him.
What a catch by Sunday. Oh.
See, but they make those easy passes look so difficult. If those are sharp, crisp passes, that's an easy goal. And everybody's just got to, you know, pull off miracles just to you know, handle the ball. If those passes are on time and they're sharp, that's an easy goal. So, you know, as a coaching staff, when you go back and you watch the film, there's so many plays that you're leaving out there. It's definitely frustrating for a Towson fan and the Towson team because there are definitely even some goals out there.
Hofstra gets an offensive set. When we talked about this in the beginning of the game, a couple of teams coming into conference play in different spots. Hofstra entering at 3-6. Struggled at times. Don't really have a marquee win to their name in terms of games here in the non-conference. For Towson, started 5-0, rose to #1 in the country, entering this game on a 3-game losing streak. But when you start conference play, everybody goes back to 0-0, and we talked about it in the open. Just one team in the last 5 years has gone unbeaten in conference play. So that is the task that Towson has now, despite the fact that they look so good in the non-conference.
I like this change of pace from Towson defensively going to the zone. You could tell it's really thrown off Hofstra. It was a good call by the Towson staff here late in the game. Obviously, they've got confidence in Brennan. He's obviously seeing the ball well. That's why you go to a zone. You got to trust your goalie first. And again, it's a nice change of pace, and it's really thrown off this Hofstra offense, who at half had 7 and only got 1 here in the second half.
And these are some of the struggles that Hofstra has gone through throughout this season so far offensively. Ryan Tierney has been good, but they haven't had a lot of other pieces contribute. The injuries have certainly played a big part. Dylan McIntosh finally returning here today, but I mean, I don't think he practiced most of this week after he had his jaw wired shut. So he's just trying to go out there and see what he can bring. Whit Stopak and James Philbin both out here for Hofstra today. So a lot of different pieces have been asked to fill roles, and some of them work, some of them haven't, and Hofstra continues to be a bit of a work in progress. See if Ryan Tierney wants to get one before the zone sets up. Hofstra takes a timeout. We'll step aside here on LAC Sports Network. Tigers have come back here in the second half, looking to snap a 3-game losing streak on LSN.
Hey everybody, Tom Eschen here in the LSN studios. Time now for our Player of the Year watch. This week, it's Boston University sophomore Chris Gray. Gray already the Patriot Offensive Player of the Week, twice this season. He has 23 goals and 38 assists for 61 points in 9 games, scoring at least 5 points in every single game he's played thus far for the Terriers, who are 7-3 thus far this year. He's 3rd in the nation in points per game. Pretty impressive. BU going 1-1 last week. Gray with his incredible dive to tie Harvard with 1 second left in regulation when they played. He'd scored 4 goals and 2 assists in that game. And then last weekend in their 17-9 win over Lafayette, Gray with 3 goals and 6 assists for 9 points. BU taking on Lehigh later on today at 2 p.m. So Chris Gray, this week's subject of our Player of the Year watch. Tune in each week to see who we will feature next.
Down the stretch we come here in our CAA Game of the Week conference opener. Hofstra looking to come back. They held a 2-goal lead at the half, led by 3 late in the second quarter. But just 1 goal in this second half so far for Hofstra, and the 11th ranked Tigers have taken control of this one, up by 2, with close to 4 minutes remaining here in this one. Both teams looking to make that important step and go 1-0 in conference play. Start off on the right foot here.
Towson back in that zone again. It's been very effective for them here late in this fourth quarter since they've switched to it. It's really slowed down this Hofstra offense. Going back to it again here out of the timeout.
Nick Williams seeing some action there on the right side of your screen. The freshman from Colorado gets it back out top to Tierney, just too high.
And that's a good look if you're Hofstra. Good job. Against the zone, you got to get them moving. It's like any other offense, about ball movement. Getting that defense to rotate, and then again, moving it faster. Then they can rotate and get out the shooters.
Tierney couldn't handle the pass, but Forte tracks it down. Under 10 seconds on the shot clock. Zengalia deflects it. McIntosh can't handle it, and Zengalia gets the ground ball. A turnover in the clear there.
That's huge for Hofstra. That's big. They needed that turnover. This clock's starting to wind down, And with the way they've played offensively here, 2 goals are like 5 for them right now. So need every possession they can get.
Bounces over to Tierney! His 4th of the afternoon, and Hofstra's back within 1.
He let it go, and I'm thinking that's probably not the best look right now, but he finishes it from distance. Takes the good hop for him on the bounce. And if you're Hofstra at this point, you'll take any goal you can get. So that's a nice play from Tierney. It's one of those, oh, no, 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 yes, types of goals. Again, gets it here. He's from distance, guy right on him there. But a nice play from Tierney. And maybe that'll break that zone a little bit. Get them to go back to man, where Hofstra had some of their success in the first half. But got ourselves a 1-goal game here. Let's see what Herbert can do for him.
Woodall wins it. Big face-off win, but it's intercepted by Hofstra. Michael Altman has been all over that pass.
That's 2 times today for Woodall where he's just been a little too aggressive, and especially right here late in this game. It's a 1 goal. They just scored. You've got to be a little more conservative there. If it's not 100% there, you got to pull that out, give it to your offense, and let them run some clock. That's a tough turnover right there for Towson, and now Hofstra's got plenty of life, and they've got some rhythm here offensively.
Tierney beats his man, but couldn't get that left hand free. Sends it back to Yanis. Yanis on Kobe Smith. Smith has kept Yanis quiet throughout this afternoon. Tierney wants some, stopped by Brennan. And the All-American in Goodrich with a big ground ball gets ahead to Kobe Smith. His pass is deflected. And another turnover for Towson.
Can always count on Towson giving you a couple turnovers. And again, it's coming back to really hurt them.
Santos to McIntosh, dive no good. McIntosh is hurting after that one. And remember, this is still in McIntosh's first game back from a broken jaw.
Good job there, gets across. I think he started to lose control of the ball. I know exactly where he was going with that. He was going high with it. He had him beat, but the ball started to come out of his stick a little bit, lost control, and he couldn't really get on it what he needed to finish it. But give the guy a lot of credit. Comes back off of an injury and is willing to dive across. Try to get his team all tied up here.
And his momentum took him right into falling on the top of his helmet there and the face mask. And you have to imagine that is hurting. He's had his jaw wired shut originally. Then they went to some rubber bands. He hasn't eaten much hard food, and you see him checking out that jaw. Gutsy performance from him coming back from an injury that has to be extremely painful.
Absolutely. And he knows it's a big game for his team. Like you said, starting with a clean slate here in the CAA. Knows they needed him and sold out right there. But Towson got lucky. Again, turnovers have really hurt them here. They may still come away with this 1-goal win, but maybe against a better offensive team, this could have really killed them with 2 or 3 late turnovers. Got to really clean this up as they go down this stretch. Talented team. Good in all areas. The turnovers have killed him, and again, it almost hurt him here in this game.
And so, with a shot clock and game clock right around the same, Towson can essentially run this thing out. 30 seconds left. They can run this thing out.
I think if you're Towson, if you get an opportunity, obviously Hofstra's got the goalie out, doubling the ball. I know you usually I'm in favor of running the clock out. If you get an easy open net, stick it, because you got so much faith and confidence in your face-off guy that he's gonna win and end the game for you and ice it. So, but we'll see what they do coming out of the timeout.
The Towson takes the timeout. This game's still in question, but if this result stands, what do you make of it, especially for Hofstra? This second half has been tough, but they came out firing. This offense finally, it seemed like, figured out something in that first half.
Yeah, on the road against a rival, I think you've got to there's a lot of good things to take away if you're Hofstra. I think with the way this early part of the season has gone for them, this is probably their best overall performance, even if it does come away with a loss. A lot of good things you could take away from it against a really tough team in Towson. And on the flip side, it's typical Towson. They've played well in a lot of areas. Turnovers is their biggest Achilles heel right now. The clearing game was better.
Better today, yes.
Still not where it needs to be, but better. But it's the clearing game and the turnovers. They take care of those things. They're as good as anyone, and they can play with anybody. When you play against those good teams, those Dukes, the Cornells,
They're going to have a tough one in UMass later on in conference play.
Yeah, UMass is a great team. One of the more underrated teams in the country. So that'll be a great matchup. But again, they've got to clean up those turnovers because against those good teams, eventually that's going to come back to get you.
Reminder that the Game of the Week slate continues next week, April 6th, a week from today. Delaware makes the short trip to Philadelphia to take on the Dragons of Drexel. Both teams who've maybe been a little under the radar nationally, but have some nice wins when you look at Drexel and the Blue Hens so far. Pre-game coverage starts 11:30 a.m. Eastern next Saturday. Game time set for noon from Philadelphia.
Delaware has arguably one of the best goalies in the country in DeLuca.
Yeah.
So when he gets hot, because he's a difference maker and can keep that team in any game.
As for now, Brendan Sunday going to try to run out the rest of this 20 seconds and secure the first win in the last 4 games here for Towson. Frommert stumbles with it. And a heads-up timeout by Coach Sean Nadalin to preserve the possession there in the corner. His second and final timeout here for the Tigers. And you look at Towson, and the pressure to run the table here in conference play is there because you did lose the 3 in a row, as you see another look at Frommert, who stumbled here in the corner before the timeout. You did lose the 3 in a row here to Cornell, Duke, and Denver. One more of those, maybe you're feeling really good about an at-large berth in the NCAA tournament. Either way, you still, depending on what you do here in the conference and everybody else does, you got to feel okay. But winning conference play, you've run the table. You may look at a home game in the NCAA tournament with what they did at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, you're right. They've got some key wins early on. One more of those would have been really big. Probably would have sealed, the automatic unless they lose out or something crazy like that. But the conference play is going to be big for them. I think, like you said, depending on what goes on in the rest of the country and what happens with the rest of these games, they might need that automatic bid. CAA is not usually a conference, to be honest. It usually gets 2 guys in. So it'll be interesting. And again, I think their biggest and stiffest competition is going to be the guys from Amherst. That UMass team is tough. They're scrappy. Isaac Paparo, and it's got a lot of good, talented guys on that team. So that's going to be their biggest challenge, I think. And that'll be a great matchup when those guys finally do square off.
UMass, of course, also entering conference play here today. Greg I takes it behind the cage. Full desperation mode here for Hofstra, down 1. That one gets sent to the corner with 2 seconds left. And they're going to have to fix the clock. There was still time left. Should be one more last heave. And a couple of years ago, we did see a heave on this field that happened against the Pride.
I was there. I saw it.
3.4 seconds left.
It's going to be tough.
Is Hofstra going to take a timeout here? Sean Nadalin not happy with the ruling, and I believe the Pride are taking a timeout here to talk things over. In the final 3 seconds, a chance to maybe get this thing to midfield and then heave it toward the Towson cage. Coming up later on tonight here on LAC Sports Network, lacrosse now to recap everything going on in the world of lacrosse every night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Highlights, interviews, analysis, reaction, everything you need to know about the sport. Lacrosse now every night, 9 p.m. Eastern here on LAC Sports Network and the LSN app. Doc the Tiger fired up.
Dot. That's the Tigers' name, huh?
Doc, yes.
Oh, Doc. I used to say
Doc.
Dot. I said it's not Dots, it's Stripes.
Now, Doc the Tiger.
Doc, all right.
Waving the tail. He's excited about a chance for Towson to snap this 3-game losing streak. Start off conference play 1-0.
Do we know why it's Doc?
There is a story. A former athletic director for Towson.
Here we go.
Legendary guy in the athletic department.
Nickname was Doc?
Named Doc.
All right, hey.
Doc the Tiger.
You did your research this week.
I did. You really put me on the spot there. Glad I read through all the notes here from Towson. The 3.4 seconds. Hofstra's got to go 80 yards here, 90 yards in 3 seconds to try to tie this thing up. Tell you what, this goes in. This will be one of the all-time finishes of the year.
Make sure you have a good call. It'll be on SportsCenter.
Sent to the other end, intercepted by Towson, and that'll do it. Tigers snap the 3-game losing streak. They're 1-0 in CAA play. They come from behind win. Your final, Towson 10, Hofstra 9. What do you make of what we saw here, especially the comeback in the second half for the Tigers?
Good response from the Tigers. I think they got out of the gates a little slow. I think maybe that 3-game grind maybe wore them down a little bit, but responded in the second half, took the momentum back, able to finish it. We said it before, it's still the biggest question mark is the turnovers for them. They've got to clean that up because in close games and against really good teams, that's going to hurt them. Give Hofstra a lot of credit, though. Came on the road and fought hard and lost a close game. They could take a lot of good things from this game.
Definitely a step forward for the Pride as they start conference play, but Towson able to return home here and bounce back after the loss to Denver at Johnny Unitas Stadium last week with a win to open up CAA play. Your final score here from Johnny Unitas Stadium, Towson 10, Hofstra 9. Thanks for watching the CAA Game of the Week here on Lax Sports Network. For Steve Panarelli, our producer Dylan Hand, and our entire crew, I'm Travis Eldridge. Our next CAA Game of the Week comes next Saturday as Delaware visits Philadelphia to face Drexel. But for right now, we send you back inside the LSN Broadcast Center. Now back to Sunday. Turns the corner, bounce shot goes. 6 straight for the Tigers.
Welcome to Ellison Broadcast Center. I'm Megan Triplett, and you just got wrapped up with Hofstra and Towson. It was a tale of 2 halves. Towson was down 7-5, but they made the right adjustments and came back to defeat Hofstra 10-9. Now, if you missed any of the highlights, let's just refresh your memory and get you all caught up on how all this went down. Tigers came into this game on a 3-game losing streak. They're hoping to get revenge on the Pride, who beat them last season. First quarter, we're all tied up at 1. Grant Maloof, he fires one. That's his 2nd goal of the day to give Towson the 2-1 lead. But later, same score. Sterling Ardrey comes down the side. He's going to shoot low and score. So Hofstra ties everything up at 2, and they will get rolling in this first half. Towson down 2. Brody McLean gets the rebound off the goalie, and he scores right on the inside. So Towson cuts the game within 1. But later in the second quarter, Hofstra up 1. Ryan Tierney, he has a quick underhand shot. Hofstra takes the 5-3 lead. Later, now Hofstra only up by 1. It's Joey Lardy. He fires from a pass from Ryan Tierney to get his 2nd goal of the game. Hofstra takes a 6-4 lead in the second quarter. Same score, under 3 minutes to play. Jimmy Giannis behind the net. He passes to Sterling Ardrey, who comes right down to score. Hofstra would lead 7-5 at the half. But let's go to the third quarter. Towson only down 1. Brody McLean comes up from behind the net. He shoots low and he scores. So now we're all knotted up at 7. Tigers on a comeback. Towson up 9-7 here in the fourth quarter. Grant Maloof passes to Brendan Sunday, who's behind the net. And that would eventually be the game winner. Towson would go on to win this one 10-9. Leading the way for Hofstra was Ryan Tierney. He had 4 goals on the day. Ardrey had 2. Ilardi added on 2 as well. But for Towson, it was all about the second half of this game. Grant Maluk into the game with 3 goals. Broden McLean had 3 goals as well. Brendan Sunday, 1 goal on the day. Towson Tigers end their 3-game losing streak, and Hofstra loses their 3rd straight so far. Towson has the one goal victory on their first game in the conference. Now, if you look at the stats, so here's where we sat in this game. Towson took 35 shots total. Hofstra had 33, and the save difference. Tyler Canto was pulled in the second quarter, and then of course they pull in Brennan, who came in. And they had 6 saves total. Hofstra of 10 saves, but it wasn't enough as Towson comes out the victor. So to break all this down, this game, we have to bring in Chris Marshall. We talked to him at half, and Chris said, you said that it was going to be the team that made the right adjustments. Towson made the right adjustments, obviously. What did you see, and what was the difference between the first half to the second half?
I mean, I think we see adjustments on defense. We saw Towson settle into a bit of a zone, playing more man-to-man in the first half. So I think that threw a wrench into what Hofstra wanted to do offensively. And I think if you look at Hofstra and their scoring, and they went scoreless for 20 minutes between when they scored their 7th goal in the second quarter and when they scored their 8th goal in the fourth quarter. So they didn't score a single goal in the third quarter, and that's when Towson really took control. And I think from a mental standpoint, if you're able to hold a team scoreless for that long and then take the lead, it can really have an impact on how you're playing as a team. And I think this is a very young Hofstra team who played really well today, but I think their confidence got shaken a little bit in the third quarter, and that allowed Towson to really take control of the game.
And another adjustment Towson made was pulling Tyler Canto. They put Shane Brennan in towards the end of the second quarter, and he came in and had a great second half of the game. How impressed were you by Shane's performance?
I mean, Shane's a great player. I think Shane, if he hadn't been hurt at the beginning of the season, is a player that probably would have been the starter. He was the incumbent starter. He got hurt. Canto got hot at the beginning of the year. So I think this will be an interesting decision moving forward for Coach Nadalin. We've seen Brendan come in relief a couple of times. He came in that big loss to Cornell as well earlier this season. So this will be an interesting decision moving forward. I don't think either is a bad option. They offer different strengths. Canto's obviously a really big guy. So, I mean, I think you look at this team, and it'll be interesting to see matchup-wise who they're going to go with. But I think they also did a better job of putting Brennan in a position to be successful. If goalies are letting in shots, it's not all the goalie's fault. Usually, of course, there are some outliers. Usually, it's a team defense issue, and I think defensively, Towson started playing a lot better once Brennan got in. So I think there's some gamesmanship a little bit from Coach Nadalin, making that change and forcing the defense to kind of look themselves in the face there. But Brennan did well, and I think you look at the defense especially. Only 6 shots on the frame in the second half. Brennan was able to get in front of 4 of them. I mean, he was nearly 60%. He saved 4 of the 7 shots that he saw. So he did his job, but I think the defense also played a lot better once he got in the game.
And you've mentioned about the defense. Let's talk about Towson's offense, especially in that third quarter. Towson went on a 6-goal run. What changed for Towson, and how did they get clicking?
I mean, I think they just settled in. I think you look at this team, and they didn't look particularly good on offense. I mean, they had 17 turnovers, and this is a Towson team that I think it prides itself on its precision. And they were giving away balls. They weren't throwing crisp passes. They just didn't look sharp. And I think they started to kind of pull things together in the third quarter. But collectively, I think they should be happy that they came away with the victory, considering this certainly wasn't their best performance on the season. That's not to take anything away from Hofstra, who I think played well. But, I mean, this is a team that didn't have their best stuff today and still managed to find a win. But I think you look at what they were able to do with their seven different goal scorers. Tierney is obviously the best player for Hofstra, and he had a pretty nice day. 4 goals. You'd like to see him shoot a little better than he did. He took 12 shots. And on the other side, Sunday, who's the leading scorer, had 1 and 1. But McLean and Maloof were able to pick up the slack. So I think this is sort of a great look at the depth of scoring that you get from this Towson squad. So those are the guys that are going to need to continue to play at a high level if they're going to want to get some more top 10 wins down the stretch and make a run this year.
You know, Towson is ranked. You know, going into this game, they had lost 3 straight, and this is the first game in conference play. If you could put this one into perspective for me, how big was it for Towson to pull out being the victors of this game?
I mean, it's massive. And you look at the rankings and you look at the records, and Hofstra now 3-7. I mean, that's not an impressive record, but it's a CAA win, and it's tough to go through the CAA unscathed. And when you're coming off 3 games where you lose some pretty close ones, like you did to Duke and Denver. Obviously, the Cornell game wasn't as close as they probably would have liked, but I mean, it can break your confidence. You go from being number 1, to number 10 or 11 in the polls, depending, and you need to get a win. So when you're on a losing streak, the most important thing is getting the win, and the opponent, I think, is less important. But the fact that they were able to get a win without their best stuff against a Hofstra team that's better than their record, I think is massively important to them moving forward.
All right, Chris, thanks so much for joining us and breaking down this game. Towson defeats Hofstra 10-9 to end their 3-game losing streak. Now for more, we got to talk about go to the guys that were on the call. We got to go to Travis Eldridge and Steve Panarelli. But first, before we do that, let's go to a couple of other CAA scores from around the league that's going on right now. So right now, UMass hosting Drexel could be an upset alert. Drexel already up 6-3 on the Minutemen. That game is starting in the 3rd quarter. And Fairfield taking on Delaware. Delaware up 8-3 in the start of the 3rd quarter as well. We'll get you all caught up on that game on tonight on LAC Sports Network on Lacrosse Now. For other scores around the college game, Notre Dame 13-9 on Syracuse in the 4th quarter. That game is on right now on ESPNU. Yale and Penn, that game is moved to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. It'll be on ESPN Plus. Yale and Penn both are on winning streaks, so hopefully they both want to continue those winning streaks. Loyola taking on Colgate. The Greyhounds up 14-6 at the end of the 2nd quarter. That game is on Stadium and Patriot League Network. And then at 2 o'clock Eastern, coming up really soon, Duke and North Carolina. That rivalry game is going on ESPNU. And of course, we'll have all the highlights on Lacrosse Now. We'll recap the game that we just caught up on, Towson and Hofstra. So make sure you are tuned in tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on the LSN app or at lacsn.com. All right, that'll do it for me in this post-game show. I'll see you tonight at 9 o'clock. Thanks for watching.
The following program is a special presentation of LAC Sports Network.
A position that changes the game. The guy who revolutionized that skill. Greg Gorenlian brings the best face-off guys in the country together for the National Showcase, which starts right now.